Berry in Major League Baseball and leading the way in society. Every Major League player today wears 42. It's the Orioles on Masson and the Yankees versus Orioles series sponsorship presented by Chevrolet. Welcome, everybody. Number 42. That's the only number you'll see tonight. The Yankees and the Orioles, like every other Major League team, will have them on, and this is the rubber match of the three-game set. Hi, everybody. I'm Gary Thorne, and welcome all around Major League Baseball. The breaking of the Colorberry and Jackie Robinson remembered today. The name of Clyde Sukforth plays a part in that. He was Branch Rickey's right-hand man. He's the one who went to Jackie Robinson to tell him that Rickey wanted to sign him to a minor league deal and then bring him up with the Brooklyn Dodgers. Clyde Sukforth, recorded at the Hall of Fame some years ago, talked about introducing Jackie Robinson to Branch Rickey.
Well, he said, I need more than a great ball player. He said, I need a man that will turn the other cheek, take the worst kind of abuse that a person can be exposed to. He wasn't exaggerating because he knew it was waiting. And Robinson said, well, Mr. Rickey, I think I can play in Montreal, and I think I can play in Brooklyn. But he said, I'll take your judgment on that. But if you want to take this gamble, I'll promise you there'll be no incident. It was supposed to be for 2 years or 3 years. I forget what the time was. You can't talk back. They call you things, they abuse you, and you're not going to be allowed to. You just have to take it.
Clyde Sukforth, he was the one who went and got Jackie Robinson for Branch Rickey, 42. I urge everyone to go to the Hall of Fame site. There's like an 11-minute interview with Clyde Sukforth on there. It's really, it is riveting stuff.
Well, we're down in St. Petersburg for the Rays, the first series, and I was sitting at a table, and a guy introduced me. He said, I'm Don Zimmer Jr. And we started talking, and of course I knew his dad, and I'd seen him in the press room, and I said, we started talking about Vero Beach, and he said, I can still remember when I was 6 or 7, because it was, hundreds and hundreds of players. Branch Rickey was running the Dodgers. If you wanted to eat, you had to be the fastest guy, or they ran out of food. He said, but I used to walk down the sidewalk with Jackie Robinson. And I go, what was that like? And he goes, larger than life. And so, not only did he take it, he took it all the way to Cooperstown. And when you start looking at the numbers, for Branch Rickey to find somebody, not only was such a marvelous player, he hit 310 and stole bases and won the MVP. Didn't win a lot of World Series because every World Series he was in, I think 7 of them was against the Yankees, and they had some of the greatest teams. But he was one of the boys of Summers, and he's really one of the boys of baseball because he just made a difference. And I had a chance to play against some of the greatest players, and happen to be African-American players.
And he's the one who did it. We will talk more about him tonight. And for the Orioles, a hope that on this 42 day, they can come away with a victory against the Yankees and take the series. lesson is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com and by Coons.com. When you're talking cars, you're talking Coons. The big crowd will be on hand as the celebrations for Jackie continue all around baseball, and the Orioles hope to have a celebration of their own here in this ball game tonight. Let's take a look at the starting lineup that will be put out by the Yankees. Ellsbury, Headley, and Beltran. Teixeira, McCann, and Rodriguez. Drew, Young, and Gregorius. Here at Camden Yards in his career, Ellsbury has had some very good games.
And take a look at Bud Norris, second start of the year. The first one, this is the breakup of his pitches. Fastball, sliders, and changeups. And he got hit hard. 3 innings, 7 hits, 8 runs. Didn't walk a whole lot of guys. As a matter of fact, if you look at the percentage of strikes, they were all the way from 62 to almost 80%. They just weren't located well, something that he didn't have a problem with last year when he went 15-8. So last year got run support, pitched well, and something he usually doesn't do, which is win on the road. He was able to do that. He was 8-7, 8-2 here with a very low ERA, and that's an incredible number. Anytime you go 8-2 at Camden Yards with a ERA in the mid-2s, you've done some pitching.
His numbers against the Yankees with that 4-0 mark talked about are spectacular. I mean, he's never allowed more than 3 earned runs in any of the starts that he's had against the Yankees, and he has struck out 19 Yankees in the last 13 innings that he has pitched against them. The thing I looked at tonight, and as we go through the lineup, you'll see when you go down through this lineup, though, there are some Yankees who have had tremendous career numbers against Norris, yet he's the one who's got the 4-0 record going on the other side. So we'll see. There you go. Those are the numbers versus the Yankees.
Yeah, and 2 of them are non-quality starts because he pitched well, but he didn't get the required 6 innings, and that's, of course, a quality start. You got to throw that out anymore. It used to be 3 runs in 6 innings, ERA under 4 runs a game as far as average runs last year. So 450 doesn't really cut it in the modern world. But what he did do was pitch well. Had the groin pull. That was the one in June. And then he had to leave the game and went on the DL. That's the only injury he had last year. But again, he pitches well. And of course, when you start looking at Bud, he's a high intensity guy.
Yep.
Now, that was his 6th opening start of the year, 1-4 with an ERA of over 8 runs a game. So I think it would be safe to say he was a little overhand.
All right, let's see if he settles it back in. Here is Ellsbury wearing away at a strike taken.
Yeah, turn down the wattage and the ampage.
Yeah. Jacoby Ellsbury has only had a couple of hits in 13 at-bats against him lifetime. Ellsbury comes in hot. He's got a 6-game hit streak, and we'll see whether or not he can continue that tonight. He's had 3 multi-hit games during the streak he's in right now. 0-1 count, and the pitch to him will be taken down low for a ball. Yankees come in 3 wins, 5 losses, 3 games off the pace, while the Orioles are 4-4. They are 2 games off. Girardi's ball club struggling a bit, while the Orioles here at home now 2 wins, 3 losses on a homestand that ends here with this ball game. 2-1 on Ellsbury. Of course, he's got that great speed, and you don't want to put on there. Norris walked only 1 in his first outing this season. Ellsbury's got the infield back with a 2-1 count. Not looking for a bunt here.
Yeah, what happens though, Gary, and when you get behind speedsters, and even in a year where his average was about 20 points lower at 271 than his lifetime average, 39 steals, you sometimes give in to hitters. And when you do, they have good at-bats, and you try to make a perfect pitch that runs off the plate. So, the Yankees want Ellsbury to get on. In the pregame, they were talking with Oriole pitching coach Dave Wallace, and the minute you get a guy with speed on, it changes everything. You have to be quicker as a pitcher. Defense has to be more alert.
3-1 and a strike taken. He'll come back to pick up his bat on that one.
I think it's the first time we've seen Sean Barber, the home plate umpire. Yeah, rookie umpire. Because I don't think either Bud Norris or the Yankee hitters know his strike zone as of yet.
4 walks, 5 strikeouts for Ellsbury so far on the season. He's had 3 hits and 8 at-bats in this series. 3-2 delivery by Norris, and that'll go to first base. Played by Davis, slow roller. Ellsbury is retired.
Take a look at the Oriole defense. A new name just off the DL. David Lowe in left. Jones, the 4-time Gold Glover. Diaz moves from left to right. Machado, the Platinum Glover a couple of years ago. Cabrera, Scope, Davis, and then Caleb Joseph. Had a couple of multi-hit games. There is David Lowe.
David happy to be back and playing again. Shift is put on against Headley. Headley, a switch hitter. And the pitch is there for a strike. Here's one of the players who's had the big numbers against Bud Norris in his career. 7 for 17. That's a .412 average. And put up some power numbers as well. A couple of home runs. And that one will be bounced all the way to the backstop. For Norris tonight, he, as was true last night with Gonzalez, is going to face a lineup that's virtually all left-handed. Chris Young, who's batting in the number 8 spot, is a right-handed batter, but everybody else is either a natural left or a switch hitter. Gonzalez, of course, got through that lineup last night with no problems. Strike taken off speed delivery, let up a little bit on it, 1-2.
Yeah, that was the pitch he couldn't make against the Jays. And they hit the ball all over the ballpark, kept it in the park. They had 16 hits, 14 runs, not all against Bud. Seemed like it though, because it was one of the short
back and out of play.
Yeah, if he pitched them away, he'd elevate it. Guys like Navarro, they hit it down the line. Started in the first inning, gave up 3 runs. Batista, who was 0 for 12 against New York with 8 strikeouts, served one into right field. He just got balls up in the zone, and he usually doesn't do that.
1 ball, 2 strike count. Jonathan Scope way out there in right field on this shift against Chase Headley, and the pitch will be taken inside for a ball. The other thing Norris, of course, is going to try and do is try and stay in the ball game longer by being a little more efficient in the pitches that's thrown. He had the counts piling up against him. Would like to get that down a little bit. 2-2 delivery on the way, and there's the outside corner, so he gets a strikeout, and he's got the first 2.
Yeah, late breaking slider. That's the pitch that really stayed up against the Jays. You can see it right now. Headley's going to give up on it right here. He thinks it's a ball, and then it's a backdoor variety. So there we go. Talked about pitching. This was one, at least especially the last half of the year, last 4 months. Look at the low ERA, last 4 starts.
Pitch will be taken by Beltran, batting third.
And that's where you want to go. The bullpen has been struggling. Kind of a little different with the Yankees. The Orioles starters better and the Yankees bullpen better. But again, if you get deep in the game, that's what Jimenez did. That's what Gonzalez on your right did.
That pitch is going to miss inside.
Wow. And if you don't get that,
Norris looking in, wondering where it was as the count goes to 1 ball and 1 strike. Here's another good number against Norris. Beltran's .333, 9 for 27, 3 RBIs. Pitch again, almost same place, strike called, and that'll get Beltran to turn around and go, wait a minute, it was the same place as the last one.
Maybe a shade lower. I think he thought it was inside, but looks like the edge of the ball might have gotten the corner. That's all you need.
1 ball, 2 strike count. Beltran's delivery, that'll go into the shift, played by Manny Machado out in the field, and that's off the bag, and he got him. Good play by Chris Davis, who saves the error by getting the tag on. So Norris starts the inning out, ball game out rather, going 1-2-3 here in the first inning. You'll take that. We got to wait. Girardi's holding as to whether or not he actually tagged him. Girardi says nope, said we're okay, so the inning is over. We'll take a look at an Orioles lineup once again juggled when we come back. Up so far, even though they've been able to score some runs. Let's take a look at the Orioles starting lineup. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. De Aza, Cabrera, and Jones, Snyder, Davis, and Machado. Joseph Lowe gets the start. Jonathan Scope this season as a leadoff batter. Very good numbers for Alejandro De Aza.
Yeah, scouting report on Nathan Eovaldi. Fastball 47%, breaking ball, which I mean his fastballs. He's got the hardest, or at least most velocity of any starter in baseball. You can see the breaking ball is at 39. He's got a curveball and a slider, and then the changeup. So there are the numbers. His one start got into the 6th inning. Gives up a lot of hits. Everybody writes articles about it. He throws that hard, yet he still gives up hits.
De Aza will lead it off, and he will take the pitch. De Aza's had a 2 for 7 and an RBI in this series, now at 300 even. Eovaldi has not faced the Orioles before, so for the 25-year-old right-hander, here's the first one against the O's, and an off-speed delivery in their first strike.
Well, that'll work. 96 fastball, 75 mile per hour curveball, 21 mile per hour difference, and 2 pitches, 2 strikes.
0-2 the count, and he needs to throw strikes. He is one of those pitchers who's got to get ahead of hitters, or he pays a big price. First pitch strike, hitters hit 238. If it's a ball, it jumps all the way up to 315.
Yeah, you kind of wonder if the velocity goes down or maybe just aims it.
1-2 delivery, swung on a miss. Play's got to be made. McCann will make the throw, and a strikeout for Eovaldi. The De Aza retired.
Now here's your Nissan pitch track, and I just happened to be over on the Yankee bench, and Brian McCann sitting there, and I said, so what's going to be the formula for success? He said, putting the Oriole hitters away, and he just did that because he got ahead, as you mentioned, Gary, and then breaking ball in the dirt, and it was a good one, and De Aza chased it.
He has strange numbers all over the place. His teams hit 282 against him last year. Left-handers hit 296 and right-handers 266. You wonder how he ever wins a game.
Well, he didn't. He's lost 8 straight.
6-14 is the record he had last year. Last 10 starts, hasn't had a win. Great punch shot right there by Cabrera. Cabrera delivers the base hit. He's had his hits now in 6 of the 7 starts that he's made this season, and he's on. Had the drawn in infield, that created a pretty good hole for him.
Now he's only faced 2 guys in the Oriole lineup, and Everth was one of them. He was 1 for 9, so now make it 2 for 10. His average just went up 89 points.
Cabrera's on at first. One thing Eovaldi has done consistently, there aren't base stealers against him. Only 1 for 5 last season, and over the past 2 years, he's been up there among the top 3 with the fewest attempts even. Pretty good lead over there for Cabrera, though. Breaking ball in there to the red-hot Adam Jones. He's got a 5-game hit streak against the Yankees. He's gone 4 for 7. He's had 2 home runs and 4 RBIs in this series. And on the homestand, 11 for 17. He's had 8 runs, 9 RBIs, and 4 home runs on this homestand. And that's what Eovaldi faces here with the infield shifted around, playing him to pull.
Yeah, Adam had a whole scouting report on him before they started hitting today, so he watched some film.
Slider away. Take a look at our Jeep inside the numbers. OPS leaders. There's Adam.
Yep, there you go. That's some. How about Kendrys Morales? He comes out of nowhere after being pretty much not signing till very much like Stephen Drew late. Cabrera is Cabrera. And how about Kevin Kiermaier, who we saw? Good young player for the Rays.
Drawing the attention over there is Cabrera at first base, being held by Teixeira.
Well, the point we made, when even though there is 1 out, when you get speed, and Cabrera represents that, everything changes when you're pitching because he can't steal.
Jones trying to rocket one right there, and a big cut right straight back.
Now he may not run with Adam Jones at the plate because of how hot he is, but certainly if Eovaldi's able to get Adam Jones out, there's certainly a chance with Chris Davis waiting on deck that he may end up stealing a bag. Excuse me, Travis Snyder waiting on deck. It's hard to tell which hitter. They're all wearing 42 today. You look down there and you go, oh, there's number 42 up.
Just call them all Jackie. Here's the 2-1 throw over. That was close. Good throw down low to Shera, snapping that ball around. And that's as big a lead as Cabrera can take right there. He's found it. Pretty good throw. 2 ball, 1 strike count on Jones. Delivery on the way and a towering fly ball to left field. Just missed. Young is there and will make the catch. Runner halfway. Cabrera goes back.
There's the Yankee defense, or almost wasn't a defense for that hanging breaking ball. Young, Ellsbury, Beltran, that's the outfield. Headley, Gregorius, Drew, and Teixeira. Gold Glover over first, and then Brian McCann behind the plates for the Yankees. Boy, did he get away with a hanger.
So he gets the DH job and the number 4 spot. I asked Travis for the game. I said, "You hit cleanup before?" And he thought for a moment. He said, "Probably," but he said, "Honestly, I can't remember, and I don't think it's been many times." Well, it's 10. He's had 10 games where he's batted in the cleanup spot. He's had 18 plate appearances as a cleanup batter, 3 for 13 in these situations in this spot in the lineup. 231 average. But looked like the way it looked going against a fastball pitcher, left-handed hitter. He wanted Jones to bat third because Adams so hot. Put him in the third spot because he gets perhaps the extra at bat in the game.
Yeah, that is certainly in vogue now. Get your best hitters up in the front of the lineup. And
Buck said tonight that's what he was doing with Adam. 1-0 delivery on the way. A floater misses. The other number about Eovaldi, the starter for the Yankees, from the good folks at the Elias Sports Bureau. His record is 15-35 career. He's got the fewest wins of any pitcher in Major League history through 80 starts. 2-0 delivery on the way, and a ground ball. They weren't playing him there. That'll be a base hit. Cabrera will make the turn, easily go to third, and Snyder goes against the shift, and the Orioles cover the corners with 2 down.
The routine ground ball. It really started for Travis down in St. Petersburg against the Rays. He drove in the first run of the Orioles season by hitting a routine ground ball to a shortstop, but they were playing up the middle. I think he looks at where they're playing and he just hits it where they're not.
He does, and he has the ability. He has the ability to actually do that. Not every time, but he tries to hit against a shift.
Yeah, he doesn't look like, at least to this point, that he overswings very much.
Nope. He said that's one thing he's learned in his days in the majors. So let's see if the Orioles can take advantage of it. Chris Davis wants desperately to get it going. 0 for his last 10 against the Yankees, and he's had the strikeouts piling up on him here in the opening part of the season. He's struck out 12 times, has not walked. Chris has picked up 3 hits, 26 at bats, home run, 2 RBIs. There's that fastball at 94, cuts down 2-0.
Now, if you want to talk about Eovaldi, I mean, he has over his last 75 starts has the lowest run support, under 3 runs. So maybe doesn't pitch as well. They don't score a lot of runs for him, but he's working himself into a big inning.
2-0 to Davis and a big cut, and there's the 82.
Yeah, and that's when I know that Chris Davis is really not seeing the ball. You can't be looking for a curveball, and if you were, you'd have a better swing. So you're really feeling for the ball. You mentioned he's been up 28 times. He's had some good at bats, hit a home run, a long one to left field, but the 12 strikeouts kind of tell you that he's flailing a little bit. So he's anxious.
Pitch to him. That's going to be a base hit. It'll get a run in. Cabrera will score. Going to third, Snyder. Throw in by Beltran will go to second base, and he comes back to second. And Davis gets the RBI. So Chris puts the Orioles on the board, a 1-0 lead with a 2-out base hit.
And what you like is how quick the bat was. I mean, the bat head, the path of the bat to the ball, 94. He was all over it. You can take a look. Yeah, it's down the middle. And he just hooked it. And he hit it hard enough that even with a shift, you could hear the sound of the bat, the ball off the bat, and the Orioles take an early lead. And you talked about hits. That's now 3 of them here in the first.
So runners on at first and second. Snyder held up at second base, and Manny Machado will get the chance. The Orioles now 6 for 16 in this series. with runners in scoring position against the Yankees. 2 down. Manny Machado will take the pitch, and that will be there for a strike. Manny has had 4 chances in these situations this year, 1 for 4. Machado comes in with a 3-game hit streak, 3 for 8 in the series, and he's picked up 1 RBI. Eovaldi's delivery to him, that'll go down the line and slice foul. Well, Manny with the 0-2 count. Best thing you can say about Manny is the thing nobody's even thinking about anymore. He's not hurt.
You know,
100%.
Well, he's bigger, stronger, older. He's taken care of the knee injuries, the little ligaments he had on both right and left knees. Had them repaired. Legs are much stronger.
Outside with it, breaking ball. Eovaldi 1 and 2. That's good news for the Orioles. Having him healthy and in the lineup. Really guarding the line at third base. Chase Headley's way over there.
Yeah, that's really
a late inning position.
You know, unless they're going to try to throw him a lot of breaking balls, that's a little bit unusual.
1-2 count. And Machado takes the pitch inside at 80 as Eovaldi continues to vary the speed.
Well, Gary, that's kind of unusual. I mean, here's a power pitcher. Nobody threw Garrett Cole for the Pirates was close. Almost 96 miles per hour. He's thrown 4 pitches, and he just threw a changeup, which is his 4th pitch. Yeah. When he's in a huge hole. What if he had hung that?
2-2 delivery on the way, and that's a strike in the outside corner called. So a couple of strikeouts picked up. It'll be a run on 3 hits with 2 left on base. Davis picks up the RBI. To you by Miller Lite. Chris Davis with the RBI for the Orioles, who take the 1-0 lead. These two teams have continued to play some tight ball games. We were talking about it last night. They've had 9 one-run games since 2014, all of last year and into this year. And of course, ball games played here in this series. Last night the Orioles came away with the 4-3 win, and then in the opener of this series, the Yankees won it by a score of 6-5. So Bud Norris gets a lead to work with. Teixeira, McCann, and Rodriguez up. Mark Teixeira 2 for 8 with a home run lifetime off Norris. The shift employed against him, switch hitter, and he will take the pitch for a strike. Teixeira has had at least 1 hit and 1 RBI each of his last 5. He has hit safely in his last 6 ball games. And the pitch from Norris out of the strike zone, 1-1.
Yeah, he drove in the first run against Miguel Gonzalez tonight. One of the few pitches in the middle of the plate. Just got a report on Miguel Gonzalez that struck out 10, pitched 7 innings. 1 run against the Yankees was he had 5 pitches and he was getting them all over. And we didn't know what he was throwing.
Neither did they.
No.
2-1. All these lefties in the lineup against Norris because they hit 255 last year. Right-handers 226. And did he go? Yes, he did. Gary Cederstrom down at third said he went around 2-2.
Yeah, this fastball just takes off, and this is what Cederstrom's looking at. Bat well out there.
Norris gets ahead of him. No breeze here at the ballpark tonight. And the pitch will miss outside. 66 degrees. Some high clouds, but a really pretty day around the Baltimore area, and stayed pretty warm. Nice spring weather. Norris goes 3-2 again on the count. And a swing and a miss.
Well, a lot of movement there. And Bud was talking to Caleb Joseph after the Toronto game where he gave up the 8 runs. He said, I got to get back to what I did last year. And that is work on my fastball command, get over my front sides, get some life on my stuff. He didn't have it against the Blue Jays. Well, he could, especially the second half of last season, dot the I low and away and make his pitches with movement.
There's a towering pop up into the shift by McCann. This will be Jonathan Scope coming in to get it. And he does. And there are 2 away here in the second inning. Well, next Friday, the Orioles are going to be returning home to begin a 3-game weekend series against the Red Sox here at Camden Yards. Don't miss the only weekend home showdown this summer between these rivals. Good seats remain. Won't last long. Birdland pride and a lot of orange for the Orioles in the park. Call 888-848-BIRD to go to Orioles.com. A-Rod back in the lineup with the greeting he will be accustomed to most of the year in every park he goes to. Designated hitter in the ball game tonight. Had the night off last night, coming on late and grounding out to end the ball game.
And try what you try to do as a pitcher, because he's going to turn 40. So yeah, you know all the numbers and all that. You're just trying to read the bat. Where do I want to go? Is he able to get the bat? That was 93 in the middle of the plate, and he's still a little bit late. So if you're pitching, if you're Bud Norris and Caleb Joseph, you want to know that.
A-Rod will take it. It'll be a strike on the outside corner.
And there's another one.
Take a look at who's hot and who's not. Brought to you by American Standard. Celebrate the season with the American Standard All-Star event. Visit MidAtlanticComfort.com for amazing rebate financing opportunities. Caleb's hot. A-Rod isn't. The 0 for 5 he's had in this series. That'll be in the dirt.
Yeah, so they just go fastball, fastball, slider. And, you know, sometimes you'll just try to run a 2-seamer down around the kneecaps to open up that outside corner. But at the end of the day, you just do not. Big hit on Sunday night when the offense awoke for the Yankees when he hit a Buchholz slider for a 3-run double. But that was something that wasn't his best stuff. Of course, Buchholz ended up giving up 10 runs, 9 of them earned.
Double check this. I can't believe he's never faced Norris.
Well, Bud came over the American League, even though we might have seen him in the interleague.
Yeah, because A-Rod was gone all last year.
He was gone all last year, and he was hurt part of 2013.
1-2 delivery, foul back into the screen, and the count continues. A 1-ball, 2-strike count on Rodriguez. Well, Norris trying to go through a couple of clean innings here. Remember, he pitched only 3 in that opener against Toronto. He's already got a couple of strikeouts here. He had only 1 in the innings worked against the Jays. 1-ball, 2-strike count. And A-Rod's going to get a base hit into right field. So in his first at bat against Norris, the designated hitter delivers a single, the Yankees' first hit.
Well, it's only a single, and you learn something from it. Throw the fastball by him, breaking ball in the plate. He kind of stays inside of it. Not a bad swing for the base hit.
That'll bring up Drew, the hero of Game 1 for the Yankees, coming away with that pinch hit grand slam home run that decided the ball game. His lone hit in this series. Tommy Hunter wants to see Norris strike him out on 3 pitches. Runner on at first base. There are 2 down. 7 for 19 off Norris for Drew. He'll pop that one up in the air. It'll come back and over the screen.
Well, Stephen Drew, the Orioles know him, and Bud Norris knows him. He knows he's a high ball hitter. He knows that he had a horrible year last year because he missed spring training, coming off a year where he helped the Red Sox get to the World Series a year before, 13 home runs. Scott Boras thought he could get him a long-term multi-year deal, and he didn't. So he sat around and missed spring training. And
a 1 delivery to him, and that will be inside.
now he's tied for the team lead with RBIs, along with Alex Rodriguez with 6 because of that grand slam.
1-1. A-Rod very short lead over there at first base. Delivery on the way to him, and that is their first strike. Put that one down at the knee level, and that's right where he wanted it. Against Norris, Drew's had 4 extra base hits, 4 RBIs among the 7 for 19 that he's had. Orioles play it pretty much straight up. The infield's moved around a little bit, leaving third base open, but not all the way around in the full shift. And a swing and a miss. Norris gets his 3rd strikeout, 2 in the inning. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 1 left. The celebration, the 68th anniversary of Jackie Robinson's first big league game, celebrated all around baseball today. Respect? I think so. $500 more for every Orioles home run hit tonight. Play baseball scratch-offs and win up to $50,000 or enter non-winning tickets for a chance to be the contestant of the game. Visit mdlottery.com/baseball. Good luck, Antonio. Caleb Joseph, big series, 4 for 7 RBI, got his first major league triple in the ball game last night. Orioles up 1-0. Eovaldi working to him here in the 2nd inning.
Universal acceptance of the fact that he went the other way. They play him to pull in the infield. He took it to right center field. But again, he did such a outstanding job behind the plate last night. And then he had a lot to work with because Miguel Gonzalez was on his game, in and out. Great selection of pitches.
2-0 delivery. Off-speed breaking ball at 76. A lot of those off-speed pitches thrown so far here in a couple of innings. And a 2-ball, 1-strike count. Those breaking balls at 41% here early. 2-ball, 1-strike delivery on the way. And again, Eovaldi with that big arm motion at 75. 2 strikeouts in a row.
Yeah, hard thrower, and then the curveball. This is what got Manny Machado and got him out of the 1st inning. Orioles had a couple of guys on, already scored a run. Pretty good curveball. Yeah, the one number that jumped out, I mean, other than the loss is 6 and 14. Of course, they don't score runs for him. Is the 322 with runners in scoring position. So when he got in trouble last year pitching for the Marlins, he unable to get out of it.
First pitch gone after by Lowe. It'll be chased. Headley Gregorius. Headley, nice play. Able to get over there and put it away. So a pitch and an out on David Lowe, and there are 2 down. When the Orioles win, everyone wins. When the Orioles win and score 5 or more runs, you get 50% off regular menu price online orders at papajohns.com by entering promo code Orioles5. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, valid at participating Baltimore area Papa John's. So 2 quick outs here in the second inning. That'll bring up Jonathan Schoop hitting ninth, playing at second. 1 hit, 7 at bats, an RBI picked up in this series against the Yankees. Valdi's pitch, another one with movement down and away. He ranks 7th among National League pitchers, allowing only .63 home runs per 9 innings last season. So no home runs and very few walks, as Jim said. He was 12th among National League pitchers with a 1.94 walks per 9 inning ratio.
Well, when Brian McCann said he has everything to be a top-notch pitcher, I don't think he was just saying that because he's catching him.
Into the dugout it went.
I think he's talking about stuff, and also the one thing, and we talk about the impact that Dave Wallace, Tom Cheedy coming on for the Orioles had on this pitching staff. Larry Rothschild, who's been the pitching coach the last 5-6 years for Joe Girardi, he gets pretty much the max ability out of his pitching staff. He's been a marvelous pitching coach over the years, managed that along the way down in Tampa Bay, so he's been around. And a lot of times, when your catcher believes in you, then you have a pitching coach that not only believes in you, but it's going to help you able to get better. And that's why they got him. They like the fact he, on a bad team with a bad record, he almost pitched 200 innings last year.
199 2/3. Pitch will be taken down low for a ball. Jonathan Schoop against the Yankees hasn't had a lot of luck. 1 for 23.
Yeah, but what was
the Yankees?
What was that one? That was the home run, the 3-run home run off Tanaka.
3 ball, 2 strike count with 2 away. Delivery. Baldy comes inside with the fastball. So the Orioles will get a base runner and turn the order over here in the second inning.
Wait a minute. Jonathan Schoop walked. That was a good take. 96.
Against the pitchers pretty well around the plate. So the free pass will give the Orioles an extended inning here and get it back to the top of the order. Alejandro De Aza was a strikeout victim his first time up. Jonathan Schoop picking up his first walk of the season.
We walked 13 times and 455 at bats last year. So
we got to wait a while is what you're saying for the next one.
Well, maybe not. New hitting instructor, new year, more experience, more at bats, maturity.
That's the hope. For De Aza, 2 for 8 now during the this stand against the Yankees. And the pitch will be taken the other way, foul ball. Eovaldi comes in and gets ahead of him. 0-2. Diaz was Buck Showalter said likes him in the leadoff spot, but not necessarily a place where he'll play every game. Again, Buck will go by matchups, but Diaz is going to get a lot of chances batting leadoff for the Orioles. Quick throw over, but no lead by Jonathan Schoop.
Yeah, you look at his lifetime numbers for Alejandro Diaz, much better against right-handed pitching, about 30 points higher. 275 versus 244, and then the power numbers: 40 home runs, 35 against right-handers.
0-2 delivery to him, swing and a miss, same as the first at bat. And again, the play has to be made to get the out. No runs, no hits, no errors. 1 left on base, 2 complete here in the final game of this series. first black player to participate Major League game, went hitless, but scored the run. 5-3 opening day victory over the Braves. And then, of course, the effect, not only on baseball, but on society. The percentage of total major leaguers who are black, African American, or African Canadian, 8.26 on the opening day rosters this year. In 1986, it was the highest percentage of African American playing in the majors. That was at 19%. You see how much it's gone down. That's why Major League Baseball pushing the civil rights game to recognize the need to get inner city kids playing. That'll be played tonight. Dodgers, Seattle. Rachel Robinson, Jackie's wife, Sandy Koufax, will be there participating in the first pitch ceremonies at Dodger Stadium. That is the civil rights game. First time that's been played in L.A. Here is Chris Young, and he will take the pitch for a strike. 3 for 8, a homer, RBI in this series.
Yeah, we used to go to Kansas City, and before the game, Buck O'Neill would be down behind the screen, and then he'd regale you with stories in the press room. Talk about when he was a kid, he used to, Babe Ruth and Josh Gibson, they used to play on teams, and they'd barnstorm. He said they'd hang outside the ballpark trying to get baseballs, and you always knew when Ruth and Gibson were up because of the sound of the ball off their bats.
What a treat that must have been to see both of them play.
Well, if you're a baseball fan, just think of all the, the Satchel Pages, the Josh Gibsons, all the great players. Leon Day, who was a great pitcher, got inducted in the Hall of Fame in 1995. You didn't get to see some of the greatest players ever.
Pitch will be taken up high, but Norris falling off the mound on that one. 3-ball, 1-strike count. No, the change endless that happened after Jackie Robinson went through all that he did. It certainly wasn't just putting on a uniform that was going to take away racism. 3-1 pitch is in the air, not deep. Jones coming, shortstop back. Cabrera's there and will put it away for the out. 1 down. Well, the Orioles proud to join Major League Baseball in honoring Jackie by having each player and coach wear number 42. Now you can join in on that honor by bidding on these game-worn jerseys at Orioles.com/auction. Each jersey autographed by the player who wore it. Proceeds benefit the Orioles Charitable Foundation and the Jackie Robinson Foundation. To own a piece of Orioles history, visit Orioles.com/auction and make your bid. Number 42 all the way around. Ball game tonight. 1 down is Gregorius up, swing and a miss. Gregorius a 1 for 7 so far in this series. He's now 3 for 19 in 5 games versus the Orioles that he's played. A couple of games here in this ballpark against the O's, and that pitch by Norris will miss.
Now, he was on that team, an Arizona team, when the Orioles went out there in 2013, still in the race, and lost 3 walk-off games in Arizona. Didn't have a big series, played very well defensively.
1-1 delivery on the way to him, and that one had him way out in front.
I just remember that he hit some balls well, but this doesn't look like the same guy with the at bat.
Yankees are a little concerned, even though it's early, about what the shortstop position is going to hold for the season. 1-2 pitch, and Norris just misses outside.
Yeah, butt stuff much sharper tonight. Slider better, a mile more on the fastball velocity with a little more movement, and so far better location.
Here's the 2-2 delivery to him, and that's the inside corner, and he got him.
Yeah, I don't know what these guys are turning around. Manny Machado took a curveball that was a strike. He turned around right here. This ball, it runs back. It's right on the corner. And then you have to understand, take a look right here. Now he thinks it's a little bit inside, but if the edge of the ball, the plate's 17 inches wide, but if the edge of the ball hits the plate, you can get that plate to almost 22 inches wide.
So Norris on here so far. I think he was calling for a pizza there, not anything else. Here's Jacoby Ellsbury. Ellsbury puts the air to center. That's Jones going right straight back at him, reaching. And it's going to fall. Into second base goes Ellsbury, and that will be a double with 2 down.
Yeah, we saw a 3-run error on Sunday by Travis Snyder. The ball, he took a step in. Right there, Adam Jones, 4 Gold Gloves, kind of hesitated. And when the ball is hit hard, this ball is smoked, you could see the step in, and then you just don't catch up with it. Now, it didn't cost the Orioles, at least to this point. But if the hardest play is the line drive right at you. because you just don't know how hard it's hit.
That was hit hard, and it was right at him. So a double puts the runner on at second. Yankees get their second hit of the ball game. Headley, a strikeout victim, his first time up, will get an RBI chance with the Orioles leading it by a score of 1-0. And that pitch taken down low for a ball. Headley with a 3 for 10 with runners in scoring position for the Yankees. Yankees come in overall hitting .246, 8th in the American League in these situations. Bud last year spectacular, 173 against him with runners in scoring position. Holding the runner tight will be the shortstop rather, Cabrera, because a shift is on here. So it's Cabrera who's got to hold the runner from the second base side of the bag.
Now his career runner in scoring position number is what the league average was in the American League last year, 251. So that gives you an idea of how special 2014 was for Bud Norris.
2-0 count. Headley waiting on it. He'll take the pitch at the knees on the outside corner for a strike. Good pitch.
And then they give you another one. The batting average on balls in play career 310. Usually right around 300 is the norm. Last year his was 280. And part of that could be the fact that the Orioles, even though Manny Machado missed some times, same with Matt Wieters, is that the defense is pretty good.
So the Yankees 3 for 15 with runners in scoring position in this series. 2-1 strike count, runner off second, big lead, came inside with it, and the count will go to 3-1. Beltran is waiting on deck if they can keep the inning going here with 2 away.
It's real hard, and you saw Caleb Joseph slide in to be able to make that pitch, and when you're behind in the count. So you don't want to miss out over the plate, and when he comes in, he came in too much. Now you got your hitter's count.
3-1 strike count. But you know, my grandson's living up to a great expectations here tonight up in Vermont. He's switching between our ball game and the Canadiens NHL playoff game. Way to go, Nani. 3-1 strike delivery on the way, and did he go? No, and he missed inside. Headley is on with a walk. That'll put runners on at first and second base. There are 2 down here in the 3rd inning.
No, the Yankees have to be happy. I mean, Beltran's been struggling. You know, Jeff Pentland comes over, ran into him today, a former ASU guy out of Arizona State. And he said he just feels that Carlos Beltran is going to settle down. He's healthy this year. Going to turn 38, but he said he really's never had one of those prolonged slumps. But it's early. I mean, what? You're 8 games into the season.
2 down. Pitch will be taken inside. Pentland said about that, he said, I think Beltran's pressing because every time he's ever needed to get a hit, he's just gone ahead and got one. Never had a problem doing it. And now when he finds it's not as automatic, and he said it's about age. It's about getting a little older and having to change a little bit. He said, I think Carlos is just trying to figure out how to deal with that early in the season. 1-0 count. 2 away and 2 on. Shift remains on for Beltran as the Yankees down by a run, trying to get it back here in the 3rd inning.
And if you remember last night, if you watched the game, he actually did have a good swing, doubled off Gonzalez early in the game.
He got a good swing on that one, way back into the gap, right center. Adam looking up. That'll hit off the top of the wall. 2 runs are going to score. Down to second base, a double. Throw to the plate, off the mark. Good stop by Caleb Joseph, backed up by Norris to hold the runner at second base. And now you know the Yankees are looking at the video to see where that hit.
Yeah, it hit right on top of the wall, I believe. I mean, they ought to check it. Probably about an inch or 2 from a 3-run home run. But they do get 2 runs, at least to this point. So take a look. Looks like it hit right on the top of the fence. I mean, what, an inch?
Yep. It's hard here because you do have that difference between the home run fence and the stands, where we've seen balls go back and hit the back wall.
And then it also looks like
home runs.
Don't you think the cushion comes right up? I mean, if you look right here, maybe right there, there's maybe a little recess or maybe a line.
Yep.
So it hit right on top of that.
It's a double. It's 2 RBIs, and it's a 2-1 Yankee lead.
So what slump?
So Beltran gets a big hit here with 2 down. Now Teixeira. Teixeira struck out his first time up. Orioles stay in that shift, 3 consecutive batters. And the pitch inside for a ball. Teixeira's had a 1 for 5 so far with runners in scoring position this season. So the Yankees do all this with 2 down. They get the double by Ellsbury, the walk, Chase Headley, and then the double by Beltran. So with 2 down, Headley, of course, running from first base, able to score. 1-0 delivery, not a good cut. 1-1.
You have to be real careful. We go back to the walk when you get so worried about giving up a single when you have a 1-0 lead that you pitch not around somebody, you pitch defensively, and then you get to the 3 and the 4 hitters in what turns out to be maybe a 1-run inning.
That ball will go into the shift. A lot of spin on it. Cabrera, the shortstop, gets it and gets it over there in time. So a couple of runs in on 2 hits with 1 left on and a 2-1 Yankee lead. Orioles is also a great destination for a culinary adventure, from their local fresh seafood to the eclectic array of world-class cuisine. Savor Sarasota Restaurant Week's coming up June 1 through the 14th, celebrating its 10th year. Visit savorsarasota.com. Beneath that mask lies a heart of gold and an Orioles fan. You wouldn't want to come into the bedroom in the morning to get your kid up and see that video. Turn down the covers. A lot of youngsters on hand here. Here's Everth Cabrera coming up. Cabrera, base hit, run scored. Yankees 2-1 as we go to the bottom half of the 3rd inning. The off-speed delivery is in there for a strike.
So, Evaldi, you must think that it's Christmas, because we talked about run support. Last 17 starts, 10 of them no runs. None. 0. Nada. And in the other total, the most he's ever gotten is 2 in 1 game. So he's got them. There you go.
Win the game now.
Well, no, I mean, he wants another one. Just that will make the first time in 18 starts he's gotten more than 2 runs. It's hard to win.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it really is. And they don't like him.
0-2 the count. Cabrera to be followed by Jones and then Snyder, and the breaking ball will miss outside. Just all kinds of variations on the velocity here in this game by this 25-year-old right-hander, who can hit that 96, 97 mark. Swung on and missed. Another one that was in the dirt. Another one has to be made on the throw to get the strikeout, and they do. 4 Ks.
Well, this is what Brian McCann talked about. Can he finish him off? And of course, it's a lot easier to finish hitters off when you're ahead of them. Saw that with Miguel Gonzalez, who struck out 10 Yankees in 7 innings.
And missed Diaz's strikeout last inning there. 5 Ks.
And most of them on the breaking ball.
Yep.
And it's a good one.
One away. Here's Adam Jones. Flied out to left field his first time up.
Now just missed a home run.
Check swing on the slider away. Did he go? Nope. Eric Cooper down at first base.
Wait a minute. Who does that? Somebody else does it for you. Where you look down. Mike Trout? I'm trying to think last year. Where you
point down.
You point down.
Was that Mike?
I think. Maybe not. He was the MVP. He wouldn't do that. No. Adam didn't mean it.
I'll tell you about the batter points down and ask for the call. And a strike on the inside corner.
He goes, that one was inside. Let me help you.
1-1. Miguel Cabrera, that's the one who did that.
Does he?
Last year, yeah. Delivery on the way, and that's way up high. Adam with a great start this season, 4th in average, 2nd in home runs, 1st in RBIs coming into today's play in the American League. 2-1, and it's all been because of this homestand. Valdi's pitched to him, had movement on it, and got him on the foot on the foul ball. 2-2.
Yeah, his comment that we've always talked to him. I'm going to hit off the fastball, and maybe I won't chase as much. He's done a much better job of, not that the average has gone up that much, but it's gone up with 2 strikes because he will cut a swing down. We saw it the other day and poke one into right field. But if you make a mistake, certainly enough bat speed to hit home runs with 2 strikes.
2 ball, 2 strike count. Trying to get the foot quieted down. Steps back in. And the pitch is up and away. Take a look at our Maryland Live Casino inside the numbers. When Norris pitches, Jones hits.
Yeah, Adam wishes that he'd probably get into the 3-man rotation. Pitch every 3rd day, bud. Not about you, about me.
3-2 delivery and a chopper that'll go to short. Snag. Gregorius dropped it.
Well, he took a horrible route to the ball. It just didn't seem like it. And I don't know if he's anxious. I mean, he's not Ian Desmond, who's got off with one of those horrific starts over down the road here. That looks like a big glove. You think it's in there, and it is, but you just can't get it out of the glove and keep control of it.
It is a single for Jones.
That's a single. That's all right. They need runners. They're down by 1.
And Adam wants the hit. He's got a 6-game hit streak now. So the Orioles 1 down, get a man on. Snyder had a base hit his first time up. I agree with you. It looks like Gregorius has got an outfielder's glove, and the reason you use a small glove in the infield is so you can feel the ball, so you know where it is. And you saw him that time. The ball was coming out, and he was reaching into his glove trying to find it. That's
especially
a
at second
glove.
base because of the transfer. But that's a big. It looked like an outfielder's glove.
1-0 count. Had him leaning towards second base.
Maybe the fact it's kind of like Palomino, like a Palomino horse, where it's a little yellower color, so you notice it a little bit more.
It's got long fingers and a long web.
Yeah, that's what the outfielder. It's a suspect. And you got to dive over walls and jump and leap.
Single bounds. Pitch will be taken down low, and a Snyder advantage here as the count goes to 2-0. Orioles trying to get this tied up or better here in the 3rd inning, down by a run. Final game of this series. Day off tomorrow. Then the Orioles head up to Boston, where they will play 4 starting on Friday night. Got a hold of that one in the air to center. A little bit back Ellsbury. He'll make the play. Adam will go back to first base. And there are 2 down here in the 3rd inning. And you can text Masson's word of the day, endurance, to 29292 for your chance to win a meet and greet with Buck Showalter, presented by Care First Blue Cross Blue Shield, who encourages each of us to take that first step towards a healthier and more active lifestyle. Davis, an RBI base hit, drove home the Orioles' run. His first at bat. Jones on, shift on, and the pitch will be taken for a ball. 3 RBIs on the season now for Chris Davis. Opening night, by the way, in Boston, Ubaldo Jimenez and Joe Kelly will be the scheduled starters.
Yeah, Kelly coming off a outstanding performance after being on the DL with a bicep problem. You never would have known it. I think he pitched a 1 or 2 hitter for 7 innings.
Washington beat Boston today 10-5 in a highly offensive game.
Yeah, Wade Miley's first start for the Red Sox did not go well. Left-handed, they got
2-0 delivery on the way, fouled off. Boy, you got around on that one. 82-mile-an-hour pitch out in front of it. Turned it.
It doesn't look like Eovaldi is one of these control guys. I mean, you know, we saw Odorizzi. I mean, he could cut it and whatever. It looks like he's got a good arm. He's got 4 pitches. And maybe the breaking ball, the one he controls the best as far as making quality pitches. Got a lot of fastballs in the middle of the plate.
2-1 delivery on the way. Davis had to go down, pulled the hands in a little bit, fouls that one back. And Eovaldi with a 2-ball, 2-strike count. 53 pitches thrown here with 2 down in the 3rd inning.
Yeah, 30 strikes and 23 balls, so it's not like that 2-to-1 ratio you'd like.
2-ball, 2-strike count. Jones with a single on at first base. Orioles' 4th hit of the ball game. Davis will take that one up high as he got it up to 93 and a full count. So Teixeira tells his pitcher, I'm going to be behind the runner. Don't throw over here to first or you embarrass both of us. And Adam Jones will take off in the 3-2. Teixeira will stay close enough behind him so he can't completely walk off. Here's the 3-2 delivery. Runner going and struck him out. So Eovaldi gets his 5th strikeout of the 6th strikeout of the ball game. Orioles leave a runner on. 2-1 Yankees. Is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. By visitannapolis.org. Find the Chesapeake experience at visitannapolis.org. And by DraftKings. Play daily fantasy baseball for free on DraftKings.com and a promo code TRIPLEPLAY for free entry. That was a shot from the windshield of my car today as I came across town. That'll be the day in Baltimore.
Oh, you mean going that speed?
Or anything moving, yeah. If I'm moving, it would be fast.
There, you know.
What?
I'm just going to make an observation. There seems like there's more people in Baltimore this year.
Well, there's certainly slower traffic.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't know if it's more people.
I mean, any time of the day. If you go, go down to the Merritt Gym in the morning, it's busy. If you're coming back, it's busy. If you go to the ballpark, it's busy. If you're coming home, it's busy.
You got no chance on Pratt or Lombard.
Well, Lombard you do. You just have to. I learned it from Dempsey. Follow a bus.
No.
I tell you what, it was like a Grand Prix race one day with him.
1-0 delivery will be taken away.
Well, people it was very slow today coming across Lombard, which is the one-way street going east to west, and people were going in the bus line.
No.
Took a lot of physical restraint.
I cannot believe that.
Yeah, really, I figured that.
Did you see my car up there?
Yeah.
You know what happened though? I got caught behind the bus. And the traffic was lined up in the other lane, so I had to stay behind the bus.
All the way to the ballpark.
And then the crossing guard started walking towards me, and I immediately cut into traffic and got out of the way. A 2-ball, 1-strike count on McCann. 2-1 delivery, and the pitch will be taken up high. Norris with a walk and 4 strikeouts for the Yankees. 2-3-0. The Orioles 1-4-0.
Yeah, Brian McCann just missed a home run the first time up. And you're getting behind him again.
He got a hold of that one in the air to left center field. That's way back, warning track, and hauled in. He just missed again. Low going back to get it.
Yeah, well, they play him to pull pretty much straight away, and then David Lowe can run down anything. He made that play look routine because of his speed. I'll tell you, hold your breath in this ballpark. 23 home runs for Brian McCann, and right there you go. A double is an out.
Thank you. Rodriguez picked up a base hit his first time up. First hit of the series. He's now 1 for 6. Comes in 5th on the all-time list in homers. He is 5th with the RBIs. Babe Ruth's next on the list. 10th in runs scored. Derek Jeter's next on the list for A-Rod as he goes through this season, chasing some big numbers. 1-0 count. Norris's delivery to him, and he was already stepping back on the pitch before it was ever let go that time. Count goes to 2-0, so Bud has fallen behind both McCann and Rodriguez here in the 4th inning.
Yeah, he's got to get back on track. Had trouble in the 3rd, mainly because of his command. And started with the Ellsbury double, walked heavily, and then got behind Beltran, who hit the double, missed a home run by an inch.
And the 2-0 pitch on the way, and he got that one. Add another. Oh my! Way back and goodbye home run. A big time shot by Alex Rodriguez, number 656. And it is a 3-1 Yankee lead.
Well, like we've said, the times he's played, it's all about what he does now. And I know it's 656, but that's, to me, it's meaningless. But it's not meaningless that he just made it 3-1 with a clout. This is what happens 2-0 in the middle of the plate. You can't do this. You can't speed the bat up. You can't make a guy that's 240 think that he knows what's coming, and he did, and there's the result.
Couple of home runs, 7 RBIs on the year now for Rodriguez. And Norris surrenders the long ball, and another run in as the Yankees have been using the long ball as the Orioles have been. The Orioles have got 13 home runs on the season, while the Yankees have now tied them for first in the league with 13. And that pitch is a strike to Drew. Drew, a strikeout victim, his first time up. With that, A-Rod has tied Jeter for 9th on the all-time list in runs scored. 1-1 delivery on the way, and a towering fly ball to center. Jones will have to wait for this one to come down. He does and puts it away, and there are 2 outs. Well, not too late to upgrade your summer with an Orioles partial season plan. Season plan members get exclusive ticket savings, the most flexible exchange policy, access to postseason tickets, and many orange carpet benefits. 13-game plans still available. For details, Orioles.com/season. 2 down. Base is empty. Here's Young, who popped out his first time up. Bud Norris surrendering the first home run he's given up this year. He gave up 30 last season, with 18 of them being hit by right-handers. 1-0 count. 3 runs, 4 hits for the Yankees.
Yeah, Dave Wallace, we showed you, the Oriole pitching coach, and did a pregame show where he said, listen, you don't want to get guys uptight by saying you got to throw strike 1, but if you tell them, try to get a hitter out with 3 pitches, well, how do you do that? You throw strike 1. And Bud's gotten away from that the last 2 innings. Not on purpose.
Came in with that 2.74 ERA against the Yankees in the 5 career starts and a 4-0 record. The Yankees have bested that already. Here's the 2-0 delivery on the way, and that's a good breaking ball. That is a strike to Young.
Well,
couple of hits, 15 at bats for Young off Norris.
Certainly capable of pitching backwards, and he just did it there. And Chris was looking for a fastball. Now they throw him a slider. It was a good one.
2-1 delivery towards third base. Manny Machado on the skip hop, and will make the play. 1 run, 1 hit, no errors, nobody left. Yankees take a 3-1 lead. Jackie Robinson night at all of the ballparks. A life not important except in the impact it has on other lives, and his certainly did. The ball game. Gary Thorne and Jim Palmer with you. Difference between what you saw, Bud, in the first game and this one?
Well, a little sharper stuff the first 2 innings, and then got in trouble in the 3rd and 4th. They did score about 5.12 runs a game for him last year. So, and the most, he's 4-0 against the Yankees. Never gave up more than 3. He's given up 3. Now for Nathan Eovaldi, he thinks this is great. The first time in 18 starts, the team he's pitching for got him more than 2 runs. So we'll see if he can handle all this. It's like winning a lottery of runs,
production,
so to speak.
Well, he's got a 2-run lead to work with here. Orioles had a 1-0 lead. Yankees 2 in the 3rd, 1 in the 4th. Eovaldi's delivery, and that ball is deep. Will it stay fair? Yes! Goodbye! Home run! Manny Machado with a long ball. And Manny makes it a 1-run game.
We'll always talk about a game of adjustment. For Nathan Eovaldi, he comes in with a reputation of being the hardest thrower, not the best, but the hardest throwing starting pitcher in the major league. And while he's hit 93, 4, 5, his breaking ball's probably been the better of those pitches. So all of a sudden, the second time through the order, do you make some adjustments? Do you see him? Do you hang it, which he did? And then
Joseph goes the other way, and that's going to be a base hit. Not wasting any time on that. He goes against that shift again. So following Manny's home run, very next pitch, a single for Caleb Joseph.
Yeah, so here's the home run ball. It's a breaking ball. It's right down the middle, belt high, thigh high. I mean, you're going to get a great glimpse of what happens right here. Bat head, you hit the ball out in front, hit it down the line, and the breaking ball speeds the bat up, and there you go.
First of the year for Manny, first given up by Eovaldi this season. Now here is Lowe, popped out his first time up. Another $500 for a Maryland lottery contestant tonight. Antonio Batang from Fort Meade. That one's for you. 1 strike count on Lowe, to be followed by Jonathan Scope. Well, the Orioles match the home run hit by Rodriguez with one by Manny Machado. Short lead at first base for Caleb Joseph. 0-1. Lowe will take it, and it will miss. 1 ball and 1 strike.
And if you're Nathan Eovaldi, what you want to try to keep David Lowe from doing is hit that ball by the first baseman Teixeira. And that's why the base hit by Caleb Joseph against the shift. You like it for a lot of reasons. Puts pressure on the defense. He went the opposite way, stayed inside the ball.
1-1 delivered to Lowe. Breaking ball is in there for a strike. Now, David appearing in just his third game. He'd not had an at bat in the other two.
Not a lot of bats since maybe the third week of spring training.
So happy to be back in uniform and playing, and gives the Orioles an extra outfielder. 1 ball, 2 strike count, and Lowe in a swing and a miss. That pitch has eaten up Orioles in this ball game, and that'll be the first out of the inning.
Well, he hangs it to Manny for the home run and then buries it. David Lowe, and you're right, this is kind of like deja vu, Groundhog Day. Get the head of the lefties, throw the good breaking ball under the strike zone. McCann does a nice job keeping in front of him.
Career high is 10 strikeouts for Eovaldi. Had that against the Mets in a game last year. He's got 7 strikeouts in this one. Now 1 down. Infield double play depth. Breaking ball. Almost broke his back trying to hold up on that one. Jonathan Scope drew a walk his first time up, and he stays off that pitch that was away. Jonathan with the 5 hits on the season. A couple of home runs. Eovaldi with the runner at first, not going anywhere. Joseph. And that one's going to be a base hit into center field. Played by Ellsbury back in, hit on the button, and Scope up twice on twice.
Well, Gary, we're seeing some pretty good hitting. New hitting instructor, Scott Coolbar, and he's done a nice job of getting the young guys, Joseph, Scope, to stay inside the ball. Yeah, you got home run power. We see Manny. Manny could always do it. And there's Manny on the left, and Scott Coolbar. I mean, again, that's not try to overswing, shoot it back up the middle. A lot of hits if you can use the middle of the field.
Now Diaz is coming up, and the Orioles have 2 on and only 1 away. Diaz has gone 1 for 6 with runners in scoring position so far. They give him the shortstop hole. Infield playing him to pull. He shows bunt, tried to drop one. It's fair. There's 1. And that's all they're going to get, but they get the lead runner. Good play by McCann on a bunt that just stayed fair.
What was that? 302 lifetime hitter with runner in scoring position. Headley in at third, trying to bunt. Wow. That's a fake. I mean, Eovaldi's got to be very pleased about that. Not only did he bunt it, now maybe that's the result of the previous 2 at bats, which is basically strikeouts. But you don't see that very often.
Well, it cost the Orioles the lead runner and an out. Now runners at first and second. Still. Here's Everett Cabrera. Cabrera's had a base hit. He has struck out. 2 down. And Cabrera will take it. It is in there for a strike. Yep, that is one of those where writers take a note for after the game questions. Why?
Well, I hope Buck doesn't try to figure that one out, because he's not going to be able to.
Which is probably what he'll say.
Well, you saw the quizzical look trying to. Okay.
Off speed outside.
And I'm sure Alejandro would tell you, you know what, I was having trouble with a curveball. I thought I could bunt for a base hit. It's just a very unusual, considering his ability to hit with runners in scoring position. 1 out, chance to trailing by 1. I'm not even going to try to rationalize it, because you can't. That just happened.
0 for 4, runners in scoring position so far for Cabrera. And a swing and a miss. That pitch.
That is a good breaking ball. I mean, that's already, you've seen most of the. I think Chris Davis went down on a fastball. The other 6 of the 7 strikeouts. And look at that. I mean, more breaking stuff tonight than fastballs. Yet, velocity wise, I mean, this is where your catcher comes into the. Into the equation. When McCann's done a nice job of really using all the pitches.
1 and 2, runners off first and second, and a ground ball down to first. It is a foul ball, just missed going over the bag. So Cabrera will come back here with that 1-2 count. Orioles need the base hit, get the ball game tied up. We got the lead runner, Jonathan Scope. Good speed out there at second base, and Alejandro De Aza, good speed over at first. Let's see if Cabrera can get him around. Alejandro, who had the single in the first inning, has a couple of hits and 11 at bats lifetime off the Yankee starter. He gets the gap in right center in the outfield. 1-2, and a timeout at the plate.
Yeah, the first time up, and not with 2 strikes, but early on, Chase Headley at third, he was way in for the bunt, and he hadn't even gotten close to being even with the bag because they don't really care. He wants to bunt with a tying run at second, go ahead even earlier in the count before he got the 2 strikes.
1-2, delivery on the way to him. That bounces. Runner stays. Scope started, decided better of it. It didn't go very far.
What a nice play there by Brian McCann. I'm not letting this ball get by me. Curved ball bounces way out in front of home plate and centers it, chest, mask, and then straight down. And the last thing you want to do when you're in scoring position is get thrown out.
He'll go out and have a word now with Eovaldi on what they want to throw here on this 2-ball 2-strike count to Cabrera. You got Adam Jones waiting on deck, up to 70 pitches thrown in the ball game. He threw 94 pitches in that first start. That was in 5 1/3 innings. Start he had against Boston, non-decision, 3-run, 8 hits, 5 1/3. Cabrera 2-2, and he'll take that pitch inside. Well, they're trying to get him on what's been his steadiest pitch against the left-hander.
Yeah, that stayed just up enough where I think Everett recognized it a little bit better. All the strikeouts are the ones where they've been a little bit lower. They start as a strike and then just swoop out of the zone.
So 3-2 down. Scope will be off at second. Diaz at first. Eovaldi's delivery to him and a slap down to third and foul.
Now there's 97. That's what we were talking about. It doesn't really look like he puts a lot of effort. Of course, Garrett Cole's coming off a big win for the Pirates, and then Garrett Richards was an all-star last year, hurt his knee. He's working his way back, and then Strasburg for down the road Nationals.
3-2, runners go again. Down to the third. That is a foul ball. Third base umpire making the call. Gary Cederstrom had the hands up.
Yeah, take a look. Does not have to land fair. Just has to be over the bag. It didn't appear to be. Yeah, take a look right here. Yeah,
not really that close in slow-mo. Though we'll have a third 3-2 delivery coming up.
You know what I learned?
Twice trying to slice one down that line.
I was in talking to Joe Girardi today, and I asked him about the swinging bunt by Scope, and I didn't know on the 45-foot line down the first baseline that you can't ask for a replay on that.
You can ask the umpires to talk about it.
Right.
And that one's going to be inside. That'll load him up. Only the second walk. Eovaldi has surrendered, and the Orioles, who have a run in on the homer by Machado, load him up for Jones. Rothschild will come out, pitching coach to the mound.
Well, pitch count's mounting, and here we are in the fourth. I'm sure Larry said, hey, okay, this is what we need to think about to get out of this inning. You know, you never know when you're really going to have your jam. It could be in the first, it could be in the fifth or sixth in the old days. Maybe it would be late in the ball game. But here it is.
So the Orioles get it right where they would want it if they wrote the story. Jones up, bases loaded, down by a run. Adam picked up a single in the third inning, flied out in the first. See the grand slam numbers for him. He's got a chance here. Scope, De Aza, and Cabrera. He's gone 4 for 7, a home run and 7 RBIs with runners in scoring position. And he wanted that 4 RBI mark on that one. Orioles today are 1 for 3 in these situations as a team. And he's got his homer, started the inning out. Oh, 1 the count. Stayed away. Well, he's going to try and get him to chase.
Yeah, you really don't know what he's going to throw because we showed you the numbers. It's about 50-50 off speeds and fastballs, even though he has the real good velocity. There it is again. Maybe even a couple of percent to the off-speed stuff.
Valdi gave up 13 home runs last year, only 3 to right-handers. 1-1 delivery on the way, and he did chase that one down and away in the dirt. 1-2.
And if you're sitting at home and you're going, wow, as hot as Adam, how did you chase this pitch? The good breaking ball, you don't pick the spin up. You have no idea the velocity of it, where it's going to end up. It looks good coming out of the hand, which is what hitters try to do. They're trying to pick up the speed of the ball out of your hand to determine whether it's a fastball or a breaking ball. And the good ones, the spin is tough to pick up.
1-2, 2 down. Sacks full. Jones inside pitch. Buck Showalter was asked before the ball game today. Said how do you explain Adam and he's being so hot here since coming back home? And Buck just kind of smiles as he always does in most questions about Adam at the plate. He said, I got no answer for that. He said, I'll tell you one thing. No, if you look at the hits he's got, half of them have been on pitches that weren't strikes. He said Adam's got an ability to get the balls, hit them hard, even if they're not in the strike zone. 2-2 delivery on the way, and that one inside that he fights off to hold the count at 2-2.
Yeah, well, I mean, I used to have when I first came up to the major leagues, you're looking around and you're seeing Frank Robinson and Brooks Robinson. I said, Brooksy, what's the hardest situation to hit? And he said, oh, Jimmy, with 2 strikes, you got to protect everyone. And that's what Adam Jones is trying to do. This guy's throwing 96. You could see the movement, the velocity. He's already established that he's got a real good breaking ball. So what Adam is trying to do is pick up the speed of the ball, hope he gets a pitch to hit, and scuffle.
2-2 delivery on the way. He got one to hit. Will it be in the yard, though? It will. Ellsbury, some 400 feet away, will put it away. The Orioles will get a run on a couple of hits. They leave the bases loaded. Machado's home run has made it 3-2.
For the Orioles, Chris Davis with the single in the right field, with Cabrera, and then here come the Yankees, double by Ellsbury, walk to Headley, and then almost a home run by Beltran. 2-1 Yankees, and then Alex Rodriguez, 656 lifetime home run, 3-1 Yanks. Orioles come back. Manny Machado, home run number 1 of the season. 3-2 as we go in the 5th inning at 15 minutes. Could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com for a free rate quote.
Little magic carpet ride, only the carpet wasn't moving. I think they were climbing that one. Here's Gregorius coming up. Gregorius struck out his first time up. Then the top of the order, Ellsbury. Here in the 5th inning, Norris with a walk and 4 strikeouts so far. Eovaldi's had 2 walks, 7 strikeouts. Gregorius will take the pitch inside for a ball. You see 69 thrown so far, and there's the breakdown.
A lot of fastballs.
Norris with a 1-0 delivery on the way. That's towards the hole. Scope can't get it. So Gregorius is on with a leadoff single here in the 5th inning. This is the first inning the Yankees have had the leadoff man on. Our PNC minor league report. The O's minor league batting leaders early on.
It's a nice little start. Of course, we know Henry Urrutia out of Cuba. Good to see. Bigger, stronger, healthy. Had some health issues last year. Of course, funny when you talk to baseball people. You go, hey, nice start, and they go, that's all it is. But it's a lot better than starting off poorly. So
0 for 30.
Yeah.
Not good.
Oh, no.
Here's Ellsbury. He's had a double, scored, grounded out. Ellsbury's got a 7-game hit streak now. Beltran's picked up a 2 RBI double that came in the 3rd inning. Rodriguez has had a home run, a solo shot. The Yankee 3 runs. The Orioles 1st inning RBI single by Chris Davis, and the home run by Manny Machado that came in the 4th. And those are the 2 for the Orioles. 7 have been left on by the O's. 2 by the Yankees. Scoots back. Gregorius back to the bag. Running game for the Yankees so far this season. They are 2 out of 6. Orioles haven't done much running at all. They are a couple stolen bases in 4 chances. Norris with a long hold. Pitch on the way. Jammed him. Got it off the fist and foul, and Ellsbury with a 2-strike count.
Yeah, you have to go all the way back to 2010 when Gregorius is in the minor leagues when he had a significant amount of stolen bases, 16. I mean, the last 2 years, 3 attempts each year. Now 3 for 3, so it doesn't run a lot.
The back ends of double steals, that sounds like. 0-2 the count. Norris the long set. And the fastball is going to miss up high. Yeah. Base stealers were 15 out of 24 against him last year. A lot of attempts. Yeah, Joseph behind the plate.
And the problem with allowing Gregorius to get on is it's very hard to double up Ellsbury. And you're already down by a run. So important to get the leadoff hitter on if you can, especially the 9th hitter who was struggling. It opens up holes. Maybe you can get Ellsbury if you could turn one over, but he really hadn't used his changeup a whole lot. That's really the pitch that Bud worked on down in Sarasota for most of the spring. Try to get a little better with that.
Ellsbury 7 for his last 20. A little late on the fastball, and will foul it away. Orioles will head up to Boston tomorrow after spending the night at home. 4 different start times in that series. Will be on Friday, 6:30 O's Extra, 7 o'clock the ball game. And then on Saturday it's a 4 o'clock game, 3:30 for O's Extra. Sunday a 1:30 game, and then the Patriots Day Boston Marathon Monday game will be at 11 o'clock in the morning. And that one is yanked. It is foul. It had the legs, but not the direction.
Yeah, 2 guys in this lineup, and they hit back to back, have had 2 monster home run years. Ellsbury 1 year where, a typical year, 8 or 9, he hit 32, and then Headley hit 31 in a huge park down in San Diego. Now, with the first year with the Yankees, Jacoby hit 15 of them last year. Actually make it 16. More home runs than normal than he did with the Red Sox.
Runner back to first base. The leadoff man on. Ellsbury with a 1-ball 2-strike count. A little too long in the hold. For Ellsbury here in this ballpark, he's a .320 lifetime average. He's had 7 home runs here in this ballpark. Played a lot of games here, of course, being in the East all the time. That one is popped up, and that's headed the other way and on a play. A-Rod's playing in his 120th game here at Camden Yards. Far and away, as you might expect, the most of any Yankee.
You know what? The most home runs, most RBIs, and the guy with the most hits and the most doubles retired. And that was Derek Jeter.
A-Rod's now at 32 home runs in this ballpark with a 275 average with the one he's had in this game. 1 ball, 2 strike count. Ellsbury battling away. Quick throw. Back in. Gregorius.
Yeah, Bud threw a ball away opening day. You got Ellsbury, and it's hard to do unless he gets a pitch. We saw him almost hit a home run. He's trying to pull the ball. For Bud Norris, you want the ball hit to the other field. But again, you can, how about something a little down and away? Worst case scenario, you get first and second. Double play still in order.
This will be the 8th pitch of the at bat coming. And the foul balls that have been hit by Jacoby Ellsbury. Ellsbury on the season has struck out only 5 times. 1 ball, 2 strike count. As Buck Showalter talks about all the time, the Oriole pitchers have more foul balls hit off them than any other starting staff. 1-2 delivery way inside, and there's how do you explain that? I don't know. Buck doesn't either, and doesn't try anymore.
Yeah, really, I was one of those guys that hit a lot of foul balls, but it didn't matter back then because they were counting the pitches, but they didn't really care how many you threw. Just kind of condition yourself to do that. And
2-2, runner not going anywhere. Check swing. Did he go? Yep.
By
Gary Soderstrom with the call, and that will be strikeout number 5 and a big one for Norris.
Yeah, huge after the 9th place hitter. You're down by a run. This is what they're looking at. Good slider. Bat head well out in front. Oh no. Oh yes. Kobe, nice guy, but you're not going to talk him into it.
So here is Chase Headley. His shift will be put on. They'll stay at double play depth. He drew a walk and scored in the 3rd inning on Beltran's 2 RBI double. Gregorius remains at first base with 1 out. And the pitch to him, a breaking ball that's going to miss down low for a ball. One-0 count.
Yeah, wouldn't you think a number 2 hitter would just bunt one down the 3rd baseline to get Beltran to the plate?
I mean, it's if you can put the bunt down, it's guaranteed. I mean, Manny isn't even remotely close to anything over there.
Well, I would assume that the reason the Orioles are shifting because he pulls the ball and they want to keep the batting average down. So if you knew that and you were spent 6 weeks in the sunny climes of Tampa, wouldn't you maybe work on that a little bit?
And maybe he did. We don't know that he didn't. But
then
he's not bunting.
No, that's my point. I mean, Manny Machado is a lot closer to second. And there he is. He's playing somewhat up the middle as a 3rd baseman shortstop.
1 ball, 1 strike count. And again, the pitch is going to miss inside. Bud's had to work from behind a lot in the game. 11 out of 20 first pitch strikes. He's had a lot of these 2-1 counts. 82 pitches thrown so far.
Yeah, because if I hear him one more time, we got to do something to help the hitting. Well, that would be one of them. You don't like the way they're shifting, bunt.
2-1 delivery
at the right time, and
that's inside.
Yeah,
and this would seem. I agree. I mean, it seems to be this would be the right time. Lay a bunt down. You got first and second. You got Beltran, then Teixeira coming up.
You're right. I mean, you talked about the fact they have so many left-handers. You're not even going to see a right-handed batter until you get to the number 6 hitter, and he's already hit a home run. That's Alex Rodriguez. Why wouldn't you try to get on?
3 ball, 1 strike delivery on the way, and that will be there for a strike. Headley thought he might be able to coax a walk out of John Barber, the home plate umpire. Not to be. And here we have another. This is just typical of the way this series has gone and the way the games have been over the last 2 years between these 2 teams. Very tight. Lots of key moments. Lots of slow down moments in the game because of the importance of at bats.
Yeah, deep counts.
Here's 3-2. Runner goes. Got him. Can he throw him out? No. And quickly over to third base. Good play by Norris, recognizing that with a shift on, The Orioles didn't have anybody over at third base, so Norris went over to cover before Gregorius would take off.
Yeah, but high throw, almost got him. You know, typical Caleb Joseph, just gets under it, and when he does, it allows Gregorius to slide under the tag, and then thinking about going to third.
You saw that's the third baseman covering second, Manny Machado, because of the shift. So Gregorius gets himself into scoring position with a stolen base. Gets his first of the year. 1 for 2. And now Beltran with a big swing. He had 2 RBIs in the third inning on the double. Now he's got another RBI opportunity here.
Yeah, he really put a smooth. It was almost like it was slow motion. I mean, I've always thought that from watching him hit that it was a lot like some of the hitters, you know, the Kalines, the Larry Heisels. They look at an area and they get the bat head there, and that's what he did on that fastball and just missed a home run.
Well, Beltran has had a chance with the runner in scoring position here once in the game delivered. So on the year he's 6 for. Check that. Beltran is 3 for 10. 3 for 10 this year. To start 999 American League hits. Beltran, the delivery to him, and that's going to be popped up. We get out in front of it. Joseph over, but that will be back in the seats. So Norris will get ahead of him, a ball and 2 strikes, trying to work out of the inning. The leadoff man got on, and that's Gregorius going back to second. 1-run ball game. Yankees up. We're in the 5th.
Yeah, this is the situation you talked about at 173. Runner in scoring position number for Norris in 2014. Incredibly low. Where he really excelled.
1-2 delivery on the way. Beltran drives it. It's deep, and that will be a foul ball. And the count will remain at a ball and 2 strikes.
Yeah, I would find it very difficult looking at Buck Showalter, Orioles skipper, that Carlos Beltran, after having the bone chips, would not be better, even though he's going to turn, what, 38 in 9 days than he was last year. 233, 15 home runs, didn't have a lot of at bats, 49 RBIs.
He's sure got to feel better. Yeah. Here's the 1-2 delivery to him. Beltran fouls that off the other way.
There's a good fastball. Good velocity, good movement.
For Beltran, switch hitter, 373 home runs, 4th most by a switch hitter. He's chasing down Chipper Jones, who holds that 3rd spot at 468. And he's got power. He can still drive the ball, and I think as the year goes along, you're going to see more of that from Beltran, who's really going to help the middle of this lineup. Orioles big shift in the infield. 1 ball, 2 strike count again. And this one will miss inside, 2-2.
Yeah, trying to hit that inside corner. He made all kinds of attempt. Not by much, but enough. We asked hitters, how do you know the difference? You know, I used to talk to Wade Boggs. He said, where I held my hands. Anything inside my hands, it's a ball. So a lot of guys have different guidelines.
Here's the look back. And a lot of them like that. Even where they have their hands, even if it's going to be a strike, I'm not going to hit it anyway. So it's not the one I'm looking for. Norris has been so close to these left-handers on a number of fastballs inside. 2-2 delivery on the way. That one he works outside, and another 3-ball, 2-strike count. Well, the pitch count continues to pile up on him in 92 here in the 5th.
Well, see, this is the difference between getting runs and not getting runs. He you know, if it was 5-2, he might be maybe a little bit more in the middle of the plate, but when you're down by a run, so not only when you know how many runs you get, but when you get them.
Gregorius the lead at second base. 8th pitch of this at bat. Beltran waiting, and he's on with a walk. Well, you really work that one. That'll put runners on at first and second base. Dave Wallace is on his way out. Brock in a hurry, starting to warm up in the bullpen for the Orioles. Well, pedestrians don't walk away from a crash. Drivers need to pay attention. Slow down, watch for pedestrians, even where least expected. Be street smart. With Jim Palmer, I'm Gary Thorne. Orioles have a 3-2 lead. Yankees, rather, have a 3-2 lead here in the 5th inning. Dave Wallace out there at a key moment in the ball game as the Yankees got a chance to extend it again. 2 on, 2 down, and you got Teixeira coming up. And the Orioles bullpen was not up, so they weren't going to bring anybody in there.
Yeah, I remember back in the day when Ray Miller was the pitching coach and Sidney Podsoni would just come out. He said it was almost like you're trying to calm an animal down. You put your hand on it. Hey, okay, slow it down, because he's not wild.
No.
He's pitching the scoreboard. And now you got a guy that obviously with one swing can do some damage, but he didn't want to give in to Beltran, and a lot of it had to do with the ball he almost hit out of the ballpark.
So Teixeira, who has struck out and grounded out, he's now 2 for 10 with a home run off Norris. 1 strike count. Big shift on in the infield again. They do have to keep Cabrera, the shortstop, somewhat close to second, so Gregorius can't go charging over to third. 0-1 to Teixeira. And he'll take the pitch on the outside corner. Didn't like the call. 0-2.
That was a good pitch. Nice little late breaking slider. And you could see a moment of reflection. He's going, okay, he's looking down. What am I going to do? Where do I want to go?
Not there.
And he doesn't really know. Well, maybe he does. Up and in.
0-2 delivery on the way, and that one drops down. And a 1-ball, 2-strike count continues here. They move Jonathan Scope 3-4 more steps over towards the line in that deep set where he is at second base, playing Teixeira to pull even more here when he's behind on the count of 1-2. Gregorius and Beltran, the base runners. Here's the 1-2 delivery. That's down low, and it slides across the plate, and will even the count up. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Well, off day tomorrow for the Orioles, so this is going to be a bullpen game, and the pitching, the pitch count's going to make sure of that.
Two ball, 2-strike count. Teixeira waiting on it, and a swing and a miss. So Norris gets his 7th strikeout. He ends up striking the side out here in the 5th inning. Couple are left on. Iron miles to do up. Snyder, Davis, and Machado. is at work around Major League Baseball. And for the Orioles, Bud Norris making the start. Couple of walks, 7 strikeouts so far. Davis an RBI in his first at bat. Little help on the defense, low in the outfield. And Manny Machado picking up the home run in the 4th inning, leading it off, his first of the year. And on this Jackie Robinson Day, good ball game here at Camden Yards. Lots of new eats here at the ballpark this year. And make sure when you come in, you pick up the menu of all of the locations and the different foods that are available.
A little vinegar on the fries.
Eovaldi on the mound. He has a couple of walks, 7 strikeouts. The Orioles down by 1, 3-5-0 for the Yankees, 2-7-0 for the Orioles. 7 left on by the O's and 4 so far by New York. Snyder batting cleanup, a single, and he is flied out. Eovaldi's delivery. Davis and then Manny Machado due up for the Orioles. Eovaldi up to 81 on his pitch count. He's at 10 out of 22 first pitch strikes. He and Norris almost exactly the same. Up in the air, in the well, 373 back there. He won't get to the warning track. Beltran is there, and Snyder's retired. Well, fans, once again, you can select a player to be immortalized in a bobblehead giveaway. Part of the AT&T Fans Choice bobblehead. Visit Orioles.com/bobblehead. You vote for Zach Britton, Wayne Chen, Darren O'Day, Bud Norris, or Steve Pearce. You can also text to 1 for Britton, 2 Chen, 3 O'Day, 4 Norris, 5 Pearce at 31826. Each time you vote, automatically entered to win a VIP experience, including tickets to a game on October 4, the autographed bobblehead day. That's Orioles.com/bobblehead.
What was that list again?
I can see I got to shorten that baby. Chris Davis at the plate. Davis a base hit, and he is struck out. 1-0 delivery is fouled off. That's where you want to. We have to have a graphic to go with that on the monitor. It's got all the numbers next to it, and I just say, look at that.
Visual medium.
Visual medium.
You can see what we're talking about, which is sometimes a disadvantage for us because what we're talking about has nothing to do
with anything
that's going on the screen. But much better to do radio.
It's always sunny.
It's always sunny.
You're always right on radio.
I mean, who knows?
That's exactly right. 2-1 delivery, and that'll be grounded foul.
And you know, the first time I ever knew that, I was 19 years old. Harry Carey's doing the White Sox games, and they have the monitor, but he's doing radio, and it's a 2-hopper to the shortstop, diving play in the hole, and I'm thinking, whoa, who's this clown? It was a routine play, but it was Harry doing radio. Yeah.
And he got him on a call, 3rd strike. So Davis out of there in the 8th K for Eovaldi.
There you go, 96 down the middle. And that pretty much split the plate.
2 away, nobody on, 5th inning. Eovaldi looking for the clean inning that he has yet to have in this game. Home run, Manny Machado, 4th inning, his first of the year. He's got a 4-game hit streak now. Also has struck out. Pitch will be taken away. Our Lexus of Towson drive of the game looks like this.
Yep, and there you go.
He got it out of the yard in a hurry. Brought to you by Lexus of Towson, the area's #1 volume Lexus dealer. 5 years running. See why at LexusofTowson.com. Pitch will be inside and up.
I just did you. There you go.
There you go. Need we say more? No.
Apparently not, because I didn't describe it as a hanging curveball. I mean, he'd like to get another one. While he's staying with the hard stuff. There's another inside corner. Yeah, I'm not messing around with that hanger anymore.
Eovaldi gets the strike and takes the count to 2 balls, 1 strike.
Wayne Chen in the first game pitched very well against the Yankees. Had the lead, and the bull couldn't hold it. But Chris Young hit a curveball for a home run and came right back the next time with another curveball. Now that
takes
a little better. Doesn't mean just because they hit it sometimes doesn't mean you can't use it. Just can't throw it in the same spot. And if you do and they hit it again, you go,
stupid me.
Stupid. Why?
3-1 pitch on the way, and that's outside. So Manny will draw the 3rd walk. He's surrendered. Comes with 2 down.
That's what you do. Home run, sometimes you go home. And then you get that feeling out there. You go, if I know I throw this ball over, he's going to hit it really hard. So I'll just walk him.
So Eovaldi's got 2 down here in the 5th inning, and Joseph up. Caleb Joseph, the Oriole catcher, has picked up a base hit. He has struck out. Real solid series against the Yankees now. 5 hits in 9 at bats and an RBI. Pitch will be taken outside. McCann with a real nice stop.
And that's a bonus. Caleb had one of those years, hit a little over 200. Got in that streak where he hit home runs in 5 consecutive games, and then really struggled down the stretch. But turned out to be a really good pitch caller, along with his pitching staff. That if they don't like what he's thrown, they put it down. Great catch and throw guy.
1-0 delivery to him. Just looking at the Toronto's playing at home. They lead Tampa by 11-1. I was looking at a story today. They got some problems apparently with that new turf they've got in Toronto. That balls are taking. Major League Baseball calls them irregular bounces, and the ball's dying on the surface, not going anywhere. Players, coaches, everybody up there has said it's much slower than anybody expected it would be. And the Major League Baseball is investigating it to see if they got a problem with the turf. Apparently no problem tonight. Toronto must be hitting them all in the air.
Yeah, well, air balls.
1-1 strike count on Joseph, and a breaking ball outside. Yeah, again, McCann stops.
I thought that was an NBA term, but it's actually and then the Orioles will be up there Tuesday.
Yeah, we'll get a look at that turf. Turf had worn out up there, needed to be replaced, so they went from the AstroTurf Game Day Grass 3D is what it was called, to the AstroTurf 3D Extreme. Ask not what the turf can do for you, ask what you can do for the turf. 2-1 strike count, 2 down. And that one cued foul outside of first base. Joseph keeps it alive. Caleb has been working on what he's getting done, which is always a great result. That's going the other way. We've seen him take the ball to right field, and in batting practice he's been working on taking the ball the other way so that this shift that's employed against him doesn't work. Got a base hit that way his last time up.
Yeah, and the front elbow has a lot to do with it, because when you chicken wing it, in other words, the elbow leads versus staying really kind of tucked into your side. Just take a look at his left.
Teixeira to prevent a throwaway error. Pretty good move right here.
Well, you mentioned earlier they don't run against him.
2-2 strike count. Runner not going anywhere. That's going to be a bloop in the center field for a base hit. Caleb Joseph's got another. Here's a throw coming to third, sliding, and the ball's dropped. Runner's going to go to second. So the Orioles get some extra bases on that one. Manny Machado kept right on going, even though the play in front of him had Ellsbury picking it up in center and following along Joseph to second base.
Yeah, it looked like to me he was going to be out, and then Headley couldn't hold on to the throw. So you force him to make a good throw. There it is, just inside out, didn't overswing, make contact. There's the throw from Ellsbury. Didn't make a good throw last night, and then Headley just can't get a handle on it. I mean, if he catches it, that ball should have been caught. He's out by what? I mean, look at all the time he would have had to catch if he's able to grab it. So a huge break for the O's.
And now David Lowe is 0 for 2 in the ball game, starting in left, batting 8th. The Orioles 1 for 4 with runners in scoring position tonight, and Lowe will take the pitch for a strike. David had a .206 batting average last year with runners in scoring position. Not a lot of at bats though, just 7 for 34.
Yeah, slow start, and then the last 52, 53 games really red hot. Hit about 350 for the Orioles, and as we mentioned, very good defender.
Lowe will take that inside. The Orioles base hit here would give them the lead back as they trail the Yankees by just 1. They got up to 99 pitches thrown now by Eovaldi. Machado the walk on at third. Joseph a base hit at second. And David Lowe trying to bring him in. 1-1 delivery to him, and that'll go to the seats. Caleb Joseph out there, second hit of the ball game. He's now had 3 straight multi-hit games for the Orioles, so his bat really coming around for the Oriole catcher.
Well, somebody has to play until Matt Wieters gets back. Doing a nice job of it. That's a nice little even 100, but certainly looking on.
Orioles starters hoping to have the lead back here. 1-2 delivery, low, swings and misses. 9 strikeouts recalled it by Eovaldi. The Orioles will leave 2 in scoring position, trail by 1.
Day start against the Jays, and he does. 7 strikeouts over the course of 5 innings. He does get hurt on the Alex Rodriguez home run. 2-run double by Beltran, gives up 3 runs. So a lot of strikeouts, had to pitch some clutch baseball. There are the numbers, just short of 100 pitches. Not as much run support as last year, of course only the 2nd game of the year. And now let's go to your AT&T call to the bullpen. AT&T, proud partner of the Baltimore Orioles. AT&T mobilizing your world. Brad Brock coming on. 7-1 last year. This year, a little bit more of a struggle so far. Last year, of course, he got on one of those rolls where over the last 25 outings, ERA of under 3 runs a game. This year, the numbers a little bit different. And it's really not the walks, but it's. And then the fact that he's come in and inherited runners, all 3 that he's come in with have scored.
McCann will lead it off against him. McCann 0 for 2 lifetime against Brad Brock. As we go to the 6th inning of a 3-2 ball game with the Yankees on top. A-Rod home run, the difference in the score for the moment anyway. Norris on the losing side of it again for the moment. Manny Machado's home run that he picked up his first of the year, cut it to 1 run. And that pitch by Brock is in there for a strike.
Yeah, really important job. I mean, Brad Brock, he could pitch multiple innings last year, but you also had T.J. McFarland, the left-hander, who's now down at Triple-A Norfolk.
The Orioles bullpen early on, they are 14th out of 15 teams in ERA, 5.34, as they've given some up. There is David Carpenter up in the bullpen. Brock's 5th appearance. That one in the dirt. Joseph had that one bounce off him to the backstop. 2 ball, 2 strike count. McCann to be followed by Rodriguez and then Drew. As the Orioles now will maneuver through the bullpen for the remainder of the ball game. There's Eovaldi, the Yankee starter, who probably 1 more inning if he can get it. 2-2 delivery. Trying to drive that, just missed, right straight back.
Yeah, good fastball at 94, right on the corner. No slider, fastball, changeup, and the pitch the evolved for Brad Brock over the last year, 2014, was the changeup. And the 3rd pitch that almost as good as the other 2.
Brock's 5th game against the Yankees in his career. He has a 1-0 record, high ERA of 8.1, but very few innings pitched. 3 runs, 4 hits, 3 1/3. Fouled off, shift on against McCann in this ball game. Count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Good crowd on hand here. Beautiful night tonight. Told you it was 66 degrees when we started. Hasn't changed very much. There's no wind blowing here at the ballpark tonight. Orioles have been very fortunate here in this first homestand with the weather. There were some forecasts that didn't look very good, and the Orioles played through. Swing and a miss came after him.
Yeah, just elevated, but right on the corner. 94. Really has a good arm. I mean, key acquisition. Really made the bullpen a lot better. You can see. Nice pitch.
A-Rod stands in. He's had a 2-for-2 night, a single and a home run. His second of the year came in the 4th inning. Solo shot with 1 down and nobody on. And he faces Brock for the first time. And the pitch taken down low for a ball.
Yeah, got a 2-0 fastball and really hit it.
Well, Rodriguez will lead the Yankees with their home run barrage at the beginning of the season with the Orioles and Yankees 1 and 2 in homers in the American League.
And then he singled the first time on a breaking ball. So having a good night. Averages up 55 points, 2 for 2.
2-0 delivery to him. He was taking pitches there for a strike.
Yeah, I don't understand that. Why would you move away and give Sean Barber, the home plate umpire, no idea what your real strike zone is? Something you did in Pony League.
Ooh, Pony League.
Did you play Pony League?
I did play Pony League, yes. 2-1 delivery on the way and a swing and a miss. Played for the YMCA team. How about you?
Beverly Hills Yankees.
Beverly Hills Yankees.
Yes.
Excuse us.
Bill Brown was my coach.
Diamond studs in the
It was
uniform.
the first coach. Bill Brown was the coach in Beverly Hills. The first guy that really had a good idea of teaching young kids how to play the game. And the first time Beverly Hills we actually played in some of the tournaments.
And just missed. So working in full, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Well, where I came from, we had heard of Beverly Hills.
The Hillbillies, right?
No, Beverly, we just heard of it. We knew it was out there somewhere. Had no idea where it was, but.
So you weren't too good with geography.
Well,
up there in Maine.
We knew where it was, but it's a long way off. 3-2 delivery on the way, and he walked it. So A-Rod on all 3 times. This one with 1 away in the 6th inning. Let's take a look at our Mile 1 Automotive upcoming schedule, offering you 20 convenient locations throughout the Baltimore area. Visit Mile 1 in-store or online at mile1.com.
Mighty Red Sox, revamped Red Sox.
4 games in Boston and on to Toronto for the road trip. 19 consecutive games in the division for the Orioles to start the year. Drew will take the pitch. That's going to be down low for a ball.
Yeah, really crucial for Brad Brock to be able to get the righties and the lefties out if he's going to be pitching here in the 5th, 6th, 7th innings.
1 for 4. Drew against Brock. That ball to first base. Davis has got it. He'll go to second. 1 gets back to the bag, and they turn the double play. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left on. A 3-6-3 double play. Orioles coming up bottom of the 6th, trailing in the ball game by 1. Nathan Eovaldi an opportunity to be a winning pitcher. There are the numbers.
He actually really pitched well. And, you know, for a guy that's a flamethrower, he really mixed his pitches up well. Brian McCann, who catching, you can see the 9 strikeout, said, hey, the key tonight is getting finish guys off, and he did 9 times. And here is your Jiffy Lube pitching change. It's time for a little relief. For your car too, visit Jiffy Lube for regular oil changes and help prevent damage and wear to your engine. Jiffy Lube, drive in today. David Carpenter, and boy, all these guys. New face comes out of the Atlanta organization. Manny Banuelos, who was a left-hander of high regard. He goes down to Atlanta. He comes up here. Power guy, 93 to 95, maybe even another mile per hour. Big guy. Met him today, and a hard breaking ball, and he's been very effective for the Braves. And Yankees again revamping their bullpen. He's going to be a big part of it.
Born in Morgantown, West Virginia, resides in Fairmount. And the Orioles, a look at him here, and a strike taken. Jonathan Schoop. Schoop has walked and singled. De Aza, then Cabrera will be due up against the 29-year-old right-hander. Trying to preserve a lead here. Headley guarding the line at third already. Way over. Ball put up in the air. In the gap. Left center field. Way back. Hey! Goodbye home run. And this ball game is tied as Jonathan Schoop delivers another long ball to make it a 3-3 game.
Well, the Yankees skipper Joe Girardi was talking about Jonathan Schoop. He said, I don't understand why we have trouble getting him out. He doesn't get a lot of hits. And I said, well, Tanaka keeps throwing him high sliders. Well, what do you think that was? A high slider from David Carpenter. And when you're big and when you're strong, you can get a ball that looks like it's going to be a double, and it just doesn't come down till the game is tied.
So Jonathan Schoop delivers his third home run of the season. Another $500 for Antonio Batang, our Maryland lottery contestant, and for the Orioles, 3-3.
Well, take a look right here. I mean, it's just a hanging slider. It's outside third, but it's up. And then if you're strong and you can get your arms extended, it just sails out of here. I mean, look at the bullpens diving out of the way.
Catch that.
Now, Dom Chidi didn't have time. I probably didn't even have a glove because he's a bullpen coach. But well, he'll start bringing one out there when Scope's hitting.
Dom on the end. Intently watching now. So the Orioles tie the ball game up. 2 home runs in it. Manny Machado and Schoop. De Aza has struck out twice, hit into a fielder's choice, 2 for 2 off Carpenter lifetime, and he's going to be 3 for 3. Base hit into center field. So the Orioles greet Carpenter with a couple of hits as De Aza delivers and get the potential go-ahead run on first base. Take a look at our Express Stat by Express Care, a LifeBridge Health partner. For locations, visit whywaitintheer.com.
And we told you about the lack of run support, and he got 3 tonight, which is the most in his last 18 starts. And then the bullpen comes in, and you're going to pitch 5 innings. It's all about how well the bullpen picks you up. Carpenter 1 pitch, and the game's tied.
So both starters non-decision. Yankees playing for a bunt. Throw over, trying to see if Cabrera might move the hands up. Headley's in at third base. See with his breakdown major league rankings as a starter.
Yeah, well, that's you can see it's kind of reverse with the Orioles. The starters for the Yankees struggling, and then the bullpen's lights out. So Eovaldi pitches pretty well tonight, and then Carpenter comes in one strike, and
let's see what they can do with it here. The Orioles get to him in a hurry. Everett Cabrera, base hit scored in the first inning. He has struck out and drawn a walk. Headley will still be in at third base looking for the bunt. There it is. Dropped it. Good one. Can hustles, gets the out. Good sacrifice, moving the runner down.
Small ball.
First sacrifice of the year for the Orioles. Runner in scoring position, and the opportunity goes to Adam Jones.
Yeah, perfect bunt. I mean, you can see a great angle. He got the bat head out in front of the plate. A lot of hitters don't. Very hard to bunt it into fair territory. Yeah, I kind of wondered. This gives you an idea how hot Adam Jones is. And of course, if you do this, Travis Snyder waiting on deck. You pitch into a guy who still has pretty good numbers, but not the kind of numbers that Adam has. And then you hope if you're Joe Girardi and you're David Carpenter, maybe you'll throw a double play ball.
So Adam Jones will draw the intentional pass, putting runners on at first and second base. Amazingly, Adam last year had only one intentional walk.
I think that was Nelson Cruz.
Yep. That's what we talk about protecting in the lineup. But here he will draw an intentional pass, putting runners on at first and second base. Orioles have tied it up. Jonathan Scope has delivered the home run. Joe Girardi is on his way out. His bullpen has been active. And with Snyder coming up, he's going to make a change, and Carpenter will be coming out of the ballgame. So it's another good one here. The Orioles in the sixth trying to get the lead back. 2-1. Very good friends, Manny Machado and Jonathan Scope, and both of them have had home runs in this ballgame. J.J. Hardy in the middle there. He's getting ready for a rehab assignment starting tomorrow. He'll go down to Bowie. So here we go as the Yankees go to the bullpen for a matchup.
Yeah, a lot of fastballs. Hard thrower. The last 2 years he's been outstanding, and once again he ends up with a Yankee uniform. Again, who would know him better? We're actually going to have a pinch hitter here, but Travis Snyder was his teammate, so he was the scheduled hitter, and they're going to send up Delman Young, and why not? Because Buck Showalter knows, number one, Delman Young was 10 for 20 as a pinch hitter, and you're going to get the matchup right-hander against left-hander.
So the fans on their feet for this one. We're in the sixth inning. Still a long way to go. Runners on at first and second, ball game tied. Delman Young is the pinch hitter. Go against the left-hander. Pitch on the way to him. He will take that one for a strike. Orioles still 1 for 4 with runners in scoring position in the ball game. And Delman Young, coming off the bench this season, has had only one pinch hit appearance, 0 for 1 on the year. Young hit .282 off lefties last year, .312 off right-handers. Base hit into left field. Turn will be made. Coming home. Here's Chris Young's throw to the plate. Not in time. Delman Young delivers a go-ahead RBI, and the Orioles are on top 4-3.
Yeah, and the other half of that is the base running by Diaza. Here's a guy that can steal 20, 25 bases. He gets a great jump, and his turnaround third is magnificent. This Young can throw a little bit. It's a curveball hit into left. You can see the dive, and look at this. Right here, Bobby Dickerson waving him in. McCann trying to deke him like it's not going to be a throw. There you go. 1 for 2.
Well, Delvin Young gets it done in a pinch hitting role. And the Orioles go on top 4-3. Carpenter will be charged with the run. Jones stops at second base. 1 down. Davis up. Chris Davis will take the pitch. Davis has an RBI base hit. He has struck out twice. As the Orioles offense coming alive here against the bullpen of the Yankees, as we showed you that had been so good. The Orioles have 11 hits on the board, 4 runs, 11 hits. The Yankees had only 5 hits, but they put up 3 runs. Chris Davis watches it come in down low again, 2-0.
Yeah, so they, you get the home run to start it off. The Asa hits, and then they small ball sacrifice, and he puts them ahead. So nice clutch hitting, bunting, you name it. Getting all kinds of offensive aspects here in the 6th.
Jones second, Young first. 2-0 delivery on the way. Lefty's pitch will be swung on a miss by Chris Davis. And a 2-ball, 1-strike count. Not a full shift on because of the base runners on and only 1 away. They have to play at double play depth, and they have to keep Headley closer to third than they otherwise would. Wilson, a 2-1 delivery on the way. Keeps it down low, and the count evened up.
Yeah, that was a whole nother gear. I thought that's what we saw last year in Pittsburgh. They went from 91 to 96. Two years ago, his rookie year with the Pirates in the National League, he was 6-1.
Two and 2. Davis lifts it the other way. That's going to find the gap in left center field all the way to the wall. Adam Jones will score. The turn by Young. Here comes Delvin. No play. Double. 2 RBIs. Chris Davis. And the Orioles lead at 6-3.
Four runs here in the 6th inning. Home runs, sacrifices, pinch hits, singles. And then the double up the gap. I tell you what, he went from 96 back to 91, and it's almost like he took something off. You could see him just go out, cover the outside corner, cut the swing down. Boy, it's nice to see when Chris stays behind it. Contact rate goes up so dramatically.
Big night for him. He's had 3 RBI ball game now, and the Orioles have a 6-3 lead. Another change for the Yankees as the Orioles having a big 6th. Authority of the Orioles may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Orioles. So the Orioles offense comes alive as they regain the lead. Chris Davis, a 3 RBI game. The last one, the double, good for 2.
And on comes Chris Martin. The Orioles saw him last night. Actually, he had pitched well 1 inning. Mid-90s with the fastball, hard slider. So this will be his 6th appearance.
28-year-old right-hander. Carpenter, a third of an inning, 2 runs on 2 hits. Wilson, no part of an inning, gave up 2 hits. The Orioles have a dozen hits on the board. Runner at second base is Davis, and the pitch will be taken inside. Here's Manny Machado back up, a walk, a homer, and he's been called out on strikes. Yankee bullpen, that 1.73 ERA coming in. They have allowed 4 runs in 1/3 of an inning here in this game. 1-0 count to Machado. And he will take the pitch, and it'll be up high, 2-0.
Yeah, the other major factor in this inning is that Buck Showalter, he pinch hits for Travis Snyder, and he ensures that Delman Young's going to get a matchup that will be favorable. You get your best pinch hitter, maybe arguably the best pinch hitter in the American League, up. He delivers, and then after that was after the intentional walk to Adam Jones. So you get an extra runner, and then you get the couple of clutch hits, and that's how you have huge innings.
Strategy backfiring on the intentional pass to Jones here because of what Delman Young did coming off the bench. 2-0 count. Delivery to Machado. Off speed delivery. That's going to be up. 3-0.
Yeah, Joe Girardi does all the things that are appropriate to try to get out of this inning, and then his pen does not make the pitches, or the Orioles have better at bats than the production he gets from his bullpen.
3-0 to Manny. 1 down. See if he's got a green light. He did, and fouls it back. 3-1. Machado coming alive during this homestand, finding his bat. He's got a 4-game hit streak now against the Yankees with a home run tonight. He's gone 4 for 10. Picked up a couple of RBIs. Scott Coolbar, hitting coach, happy to see that going on for him, and happy to see what's going on. 6 runs and 12 hits in this game. Davis, big lead at second. They're not trying to hold him at all. Machado takes it. It's there.
Well, both of these teams have come in averaging 5 runs a game. And for the Orioles that have come in at 4-4, they've had a chance to either sweep or win every series they play. It's only the 3rd of the year, but you like those numbers. Just want to be able to win.
Orioles trying to take the series.
Yeah.
3 ball, 2 strike count. Davis off second base. Machado takes it in the air to right field. Back near the warning track. Beltran puts it away. Davis tags. He will move over to third base. And now there are 2 down. Experience Oriole Park in an exciting new way when you pick up an Oriole Park 5-bagger suite program. 1 low price, all-inclusive, fully catered suite, 5 games, including games against the Yankees or Red Sox. Parking, VIP treatment, and more. No better way to entertain colleagues and friends. Make a statement. 410-547-6173 for the Oriole Park 5-bagger suite program. So now with a runner at third base, infield backs way up. Caleb Joseph has a chance to have a 3-hit ball game, 2 singles, and he has struck out. The Orioles have a Jonathan Scope home run that started the inning, RBI single by Young, and a 2 RBI double by Davis, all here in the 6th. And that ball's going to go to center field. He's done it again. Caleb Joseph, a 3-hit ball game. A single and an RBI as he brings home Chris Davis and a 7-3 lead.
Well, I'll tell you what, we talked about playing Pepper the other night. Well, that's kind of what he's doing. He's not overswinging. Watch him again. Watch the front arm. You can see the bat head. He stays inside the ball. No chicken wing. Just serve it into center field. Sometimes you don't get that fortunate, but it does get another run in. So a huge 5-run inning here in the 6th inning for the Orioles.
7 runs, 13 hits for the Orioles, and they've batted around. David Lowe, the 9th to hit in the inning, will take the pitch for a strike. Impressive offense here in this ball game. Carpenter's become the pitcher of record for the Yankees, but Wilson struggling with not getting anybody out. Both of the base runners who got on against him have scored.
And they've done it against, as you mentioned, one of the better bullpens, at least. And again, it's only through 8 games, but that counts.
0-1 count with 2 down. Low, a chopper to first base to Shera. Pitcher covers, and that will do it here in the inning. But for the Orioles, a big inning. Joseph is third 3-hit ball game in his career. Home run leading it off Scope, and the Orioles lead it. Game set at Fenway. Ubaldo Jimenez on the mound against Joe Kelly in Game 1. Our coverage on MASN will begin on Friday, 6:30 O's Extra, presented by Jeep, followed by game coverage at 7. All the access you need right here on MASN. Take a look at our MLB notebook. Boston Bruises. Bogarts did play against Washington today. 0 for 4, 2 strikeouts. He was out with a sore knee yesterday. Pablo Sandoval's got a bruised left foot. He's day-to-day not on the DL. Brandon Workman is on the DL, a strained elbow. Interesting, they'd sent him down to AAA, and Workman complained about it and said, I hurt my elbow and while I was on the Major League roster. They did a review and said, yes, you did, so they had to bring him back up and put him on the DL.
And not like the old days where, why don't you go take some hot showers in Miami? And if that doesn't work, but try Elmira and then Rochester on the way back. It's just a lot different now. And I mean, that's your players' union.
Yep,
protecting their players, and it's the rules. And
here is Chris Young.
If you time your injuries at the right time, you can probably have 2-3 years and never really played much. Nobody can know whether you can play or not. You're hurt, and you've never been up if you're a hitter, and you have never pitched any innings.
Brad Brock in relief, now the Orioles pitcher of record in the ball game. And Brock working here in the 7th inning with Young. 0 for 2. It's popped out, grounded out. Orioles put the switch on the right-handed batter. Gregorius and Ellsbury due up. He'll pop it up left center. Jones coming over, and will make the catch. One away, 7th inning. Follow the Orioles all season long. MLB.com at bat, the #1 app for live baseball. At bat is up to the moment at any moment. In-game highlights, live look-ins, replays, radio broadcasts, and a whole lot more. Get MLB.com at bat for your smartphone or tablet. Showalter takes a deep breath that he finally can do with a 7-3 lead. Not that it's over, but
no, he's starting to, and this is what teams do. They start counting the outs. You need them. You need 8 more. Maintain the lead.
Didi Gregorius, a single, has been called out on strikes. Stole a base when he got on in the 5th inning. Orioles have had a lot of base runners. I mean, they've scored 7. They've left 10 on base. The Yankees have left only 4.
Well, Eovaldi did a nice job of pitching his way out of trouble. Had a great breaking ball. We mentioned struck out 9.
Here's the 1-1 delivery on the way to him. That ball looped in the air. It'll come back towards left field. Low is there, and he's got it. 2 down.
Yeah, Didi's going to have to learn how to bunt because when you're down by 4 and Manny Machado is playing 3-4 steps behind third, you've got to figure out a way to get on base for your teammates.
Here's Jacoby Ellsbury, top of the order. 1 for 3, the double, third inning would score. Beltran had a 2 RBI double that inning. Rodriguez a home run in the 4th for the 3 Yankee runs. The Orioles batting around in that 6th inning, picked up 5 runs on 5 hits and left only 1 on base. A lot of contributions made as they went through the lineup. Caleb Joseph with the RBI in a 3-hit ball game. 0-2 count on Ellsbury.
Yeah, it's a way for Brad Brock, who can pitch multiple innings because he has 3 quality pitches, now to get into a rhythm. Every once in a while he starts spinning, and when he starts spinning he loses his command. But the stuff is a lot better than. Like when you talk to scouts last year, they go, he threw well for San Diego in 2012 and 13, but not the way he pitched for the Orioles. And as you mentioned, when you come in and then they get you a bunch of runs, you kind of Phil Regan. They used to call him a vulture when he pitched for the Dodgers because that's what would happen. He'd pitch well, they'd score runs.
You swoop in and get a victory,
yeah, exactly.
And then you come back and do that. Retired the side in order. He's got a couple of strikeouts. 7th inning stretch time here at Camden Yards. Orioles up 7-3. On top of the ball game now, 7-3. Gary Thorne, Jim Palmer with you here on this very nice spring night. And for the Orioles, finally kept grinding away at it. Once they got to the bullpen, surprisingly, which had been good, they scored runs.
Well, I was wrong because when I said you better beat the Yankees, you better get the lead early. Maybe I was thinking more of the late part, but I saw David Carpenter pitch early in the year, and I go, pretty good stuff. He throws a high slider. Scope hits it. I mean, not only did he hit it out of here, but he almost got our bullpen coach Don Cheedy. I mean, he hit it so hard, so they put a 5 spot on him, and it's kind of what it's about. And then Brad Brock comes in, shuts him down. But you got to go back. You know, Norris was better than his opening game, but he really gutted it out. He got some big outs, kept the game at 3-2. He's not going to get the win, but a lot of times you just pitch for a team win, and if the Orioles aren't winning tonight,
now the Yankees still struggling from that long Red Sox game. Their bullpen, like the Red Sox bullpen, worked so hard in that 19-inning game that they've had to look for some names.
Well, look at right here, Brandon Pinder. He comes right out of last year. I mean, he pitched at 3 different levels for him. So this is, I believe, going to be his major league debut.
It is.
Yeah, out of Cal State, Florida.
And the first ball he delivers is hit to the gap, and it will. He hauled in. Nice play made by Ellsbury, who had to come over to get it on a long fly ball by Jonathan Scope, who was leading it off here in the 7th inning.
And what you like again, I mean, the high slider, it speeds up the bat. He homers. And then when you throw him a fastball away, he drills it up the gap. Ellsbury with great speed runs it down. Otherwise, it's a double. Nice little hitting approach.
though he's in the record books at the major league level for Brandon Pinder. He's 26 years old, out of Corona, California, at Cal State University, Long Beach, and has been in the Yankee system since 2011. But he's been at Trenton, Scranton, Wilkes-Barre, AAA. Now gets a shot at the major league level. 16th round choice, 2011. Alejandro De Aza in the leadoff spot for the Orioles. Couple of strikeouts, fielder's choice, and a single, and a run scored. De Aza coming to the plate for the 5th time in the ball game. And he goes to the gap. Nobody's going to get that one. With the speed he's got, let's see how far he goes. Ellsbury going over to get it. He's on his way to third. Takes a look behind him. He'll get into third base easily with a triple.
Yeah, you play him a couple of steps, and then he's been around the block often enough to know with one out, I don't want to turn a double into a double when I can turn it into a triple. So just check him out on the box. I mean, he's going. Watch this. This is full tilt. This is not just a double. It's going to be, can I get the third? Right there, he knows he can make it. Ellsbury's just picking the ball up. And now they're going to have to bring the infield in because he got the third instead of second.
So De Aza gets his first triple of the year for the Orioles, only their second. Caleb Joseph had the triple last night for the Orioles. De Aza picked up 8 triples last year combined with the White Sox and Orioles. Another RBI chance. Here is Cabrera. Everett Cabrera is singled and scored. He laid down a sacrifice to help ignite that 6th inning. He has walked and he has struck out. Yankee infield in, trying to cut this run off. Orioles now 14 hits, 7 runs, 14 hits in the game. Bunts, safety squeeze, caught. Oops, misread right there, and the flip will be a double play.
Yeah, I think De Aza figured, well, you know what? I'm this far down the line, and hopefully he'll drop it. And he didn't.
So that will end the inning, and nobody left on base. In the Boys and Girls Clubs, the Westport Homes Club, they were invited, the youngsters there, through however they desired, to have a project that would express and show Jackie Robinson's essentials for success. They did everything from creative dancing to speeches to poems, all kinds of stuff. 3-judge panel. Adam was on that panel with Kendra Gaither and Lauren Namonka, and they decided who the winner was going to be. Adam has been involved with the Boys and Girls Club for a long time, past several years, and they got a winner, and Daryl Fenwick is the youngster who came out and got to throw out, there he is, got to throw out the first pitch of the game, and Adam Jones came out there to get it. Now, I was talking with Adam before the game. He's also involved in the Jackie Robinson Foundation. He is one of a number of players that contributes a scholarship, a significant amount of money for a player, for an individual to go to college 4 years. And Jackie Robinson, that foundation has helped innumerable youngsters be able to go to college who otherwise could not have gone. And I think the best part of that, and I was talking to Adam about that today, the foundation sends you a picture and information on the student that you are supporting. So you know who it is, and you get to follow them and actually have a relationship knowing what that youngster's doing. That'll be a base hit for Chase Headley, who's on with a single as we go to the 8th inning.
Now, Tommy Hunter on the last inning was the Drew grand slam. So the Orioles again with a 7-3 lead. And that ball wasn't hit very hard, but it was just a breaking ball. It stayed up, and Headley just softly flared it into left.
That'll be hit number 6 for the Yankees. Beltran 2 RBI double, 3rd inning. He has walked and grounded out. Ball put high up in the air and deep towards that well. It's playable. Diaz is there to get it. Runner will go back, and Beltran is retired. So the Orioles bullpen, Tommy Hunter on, Brad Brock after Norris had worked 5. Brad Brock worked a couple of innings, gave up a walk, but he only faced 6. Could be the winning pitcher. And now with 1 away, here is Teixeira. Teixeira takes it for a strike. Orioles a chance to win the series with a victory. They can hang on here in this ball game. They had a 1-0 lead in the 1st inning. The Yankees came back. A couple in the 3rd, 1 in the 4th. The Orioles have responded. Betances in the bullpen for the Yankees, trying not to wear out the pen here in one game with their starter going 5. Teixeira will take the pitch, and it will miss. 2-1.
Yeah, Tommy was the closer early on last year, but over the last 43 appearances, the cutter thing of the past, used his curveball, made quality pitchers, came up with a 2-seam fastball that kept the ball down. I mean, that's a very hittable pitch there. He throws very hard, but the ball maybe a little bit straight. The 2-seamer gets a little bit more movement. I mean, that's the pitch that Drew hit, but the problem was it was the 3-1 pitch. And Stephen Drew, good high ball hitter, was able to take a 4-2 lead and turn it into a 6-4 deficit.
And that one is up high to Teixeira. Teixeira against Tommy Hunter, 2 for 11. Yankees needing base runners now here in the 8th inning and down 7-3. Shift on against Teixeira with Chase Headley getting the lead at first. And that ball lifted to the gap. And Diaz going. Will not get it. Tried to knock it down. Finally picks it up. Throw will come into second base. Headley will stop at 3rd. The Yankees aren't done here. The Yankees get 2 in scoring position with 1 away in the 8th. A double for Teixeira.
Well, Tommy Hunter doesn't walk a whole lot of guys, but what happens is you get to those 3-2 counts, you look at the scoreboard, and then you throw a strike. And where is it? It's belled high. He hooks it into the gap because you have to throw a strike if the count, you don't go to that 3-2 count, you can make a better pitch. But everything is up. And that's not where he wants to be.
So with 1 away, McCann's got a chance on a base hit to cut that lead. McCann's gone 0 for 3 in the ball game, 0 for 7 in this series. He's only had 1 at bat against Hunter, 0 for 1. It's there for a strike. Yankees have had only 3 chances with a runner in scoring position. They are 1 for 3. So Showalter on the phone, Dom Chidi in the bullpen. On delivery. McCann takes it. That's going to go the other way, sending Jones back, way back, reaching, and he makes an outstanding catch. Tagging up, run will score. Headley comes in. Teixeira will move over. It's a sac fly, but it could have been a lot worse. It's a 7-4 game.
Well, there's got to be a little gold on that ball because the Gold Glover flagged it down. It's 2 bullets that McCann's hit the left field, and this one, I mean, it's got double written all over it. Look at that jump. And he's able to run it down, so every ball hit hard here and every ball up in the zone. And all you do is you get a little anxious, and Tommy, Buck coming back to him after the grand slam, you get a little anxious, you fly open, they see it, everything's flat, stay closed, throw the ball downhill, and I know he can do it because he did it most of last season.
Now here's A-Rod, who's had a home run, a single, and he has walked. Runner at third. That's going to get away, and a run's going to score. Wild pitch, run in. Didn't slide. That's kind of dangerous for everybody, but Teixeira will score the second run of the inning. And it's suddenly a much closer ball game.
Well, he gets it, tries to get it down, and he just bounces it. Look at this play. I mean, Tommy's there, and then the tag, but Mark Teixeira, I think he just bounced right there. Kind of wondering if Dave Wall's going to come out, and obviously struggling with the mechanics.
Ryan Madison, the bullpen, 2 runs in here in the 8th inning to make it a 7-5 ball game. Wallace with a discussion going on. Oriole bullpen has given up at least 1 run in all 9 of the ball games played so far.
Well, see, the analogy I made the other day, if you're a golfer and you're hitting balls on the range, it's easy, and when you're out in the course, it's hard. And that's what Tommy's trying to do. And I mean, these guys are pretty good hitters. So midstream, sometimes it's hard to adjust.
A-Rod will take the pitch for a strike. 7-5, only 1 away, bases now empty. Rodriguez, their designated hitter, in the ball, 2 down rather, on the sac fly by McCann. 1 ball, 1 strike count, so A-Rod can go after it. That pitch is there as well. 1-2. One run in, sac fly McCann, the other on the wild pitch. 1-2 delivery outside. It's been a torturous ball game for both managers. Never enough runs, lots of people on base, lots of pitches thrown. 2-2 delivery, and that'll be fouled to keep it alive.
Yeah, I'm sure Joe Girardi felt pretty comfortable when he went to his bullpen because of the numbers. 1.73 ERA. That didn't work out. Showalter hoping the bullpen gets kind of back to where they were last year for the Orioles. And Brad Brock was able to do that. 2 scoreless innings, but Tommy's struggling here in the 8th.
Hunter with the 2-ball, 2-strike count, and got him on the outside corner. So Hunter gets called, 3rd strike. We'll wrap it up. 2 runs are in, couple of hits, nobody left on base. A 7-5 Orioles lead. Brought to you by Ocean City, Maryland. Put your vacation days to good use in Ocean City, Maryland. Book now at ococean.com. And by Royal Farms. Royal Farms world famous chicken and western fries made fresh, never frozen. Real fresh, real fast. Royal Farms. Gary Thorne and Jim Palmer back. Over 23,000, 23,409 on hand. Seeing a good one into the bullpen one more time for the Yankees.
Yeah, again, they get a little bit closer. They bring in Dellin Betances coming off a monster year, 5-0 with 135 strikeouts in 90 innings, only 46 hits. He came in and pitched on Monday night. Struggled with his control. That's kind of been the case. So maybe not as sharp. Big guy. And again, I think additionally they thought, along with Andrew Miller, they might share the closing roles, and that could certainly happen over the course of this season.
So let's see if the Orioles can add to it here in the bottom half of the 8th inning. Adam Jones up 1 for 6 against Betances. Betances has struck him out 5 times in his career. Those 2 runs spotted in the 8th inning by the Yankees changed the whole complexion here at the bottom half of the inning. And the short right into the glove. Gregorius hit hard, but he got it.
Yeah, what a rocket. The one thing about Betances last year, it was probably 95 to 98, and the curveball that very difficult to track. And the other night it was the ball out of his hand, and then threw a couple of good fastballs with nothing in that velocity range.
Delvin Young is the designated hitter, taking over for Snyder in a big way. He came on to pinch hit 6th inning, got an RBI base hit, part of that 5-run 5-hit inning. And the breaking ball there for his strike, just like we promised earlier in the game. It's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lights.
Well, you match up, curveball into the outfield. Here comes your tying run, and then the Orioles would score another 4.
That one going to the gap. That's going to fall in. He's got another base hit. Young continues to be amazing at the plate. Couple of hits, 2 for 2s in the ball game.
Well, until you see him play every day, I was on the Chris Davis double after the single. You realize why he was the #1 draft choice with the Tampa Bay. And right here, curveball that stays up. That's not where you want it if you're Betances. Delvin Young says thank you very much, and he just pings it into right. But he scored easily from first base. We were talking about, he can really.
He can run.
Yeah.
Here's Chris Davis, over 3 off Betances in his career. Young now is consecutive 2-hit ball games. He's on at first base with a base hit, the Orioles' 15th hit of the ball game. Davis a double in the 6th inning. Big blow, part of the big inning. Pitch will be taken down low. 1 ball, 1 strike count. 7 hits now and 30 at bats, 5 RBIs for Chris, working as a DH and first baseman primarily for the Orioles again this year. Step off look, shift on against him. Betances. Davis will take it. It's a strike.
Yeah, there's a good curveball. I was reading an article. The Yankees usually invite a lot of their former stars, and one of the stars, Mariano Rivera, in their spring training camp, talking to Dylan Betances about trying to minimize the amount of pitches.
Davis over the top.
Yeah, good hook right there. And the reason for that is that, Mariano's theory was, and he holds the all-time save record, is that you don't want them to see all your stuff. So try to throw a lot of strikes. Try to relax. Not everybody can do that. Not everybody can be efficient.
Betances gets the out. Still at first base, Delvin Young. And Manny Machado. Machado continues his hit streak to 4 games. Home run, first of the year, 4th inning. He's drawn a walk, flied out, struck out. 2 away here in the 8th. And obviously, with the runs the Yankees put up, safe situation right now in the ball game for the Orioles. Brad Brock, who worked 2 innings, a walk and 2 strikeouts, is the pitcher of record. Carpenter for the Yankees, who gave up 3 runs, 2 hits in just a third of an inning. Pitcher of record for them. Wilson gave up 2 runs, 2 hits, no part of an inning. Martin 2/3 of an inning with a hit. Pinder worked an inning, gave up a hit, and now Betances. Orioles 15 hits. That's a high for the season. They'd had 13 previously. That's a big number. 7 runs, 15 hits, and 10 left on base. 2-0 delivery off the end and back. 2-1 on Manny. Machado watches, and that one's going to miss outside. So Manny Goodeye takes the count to 3-1. Yankee pitchers have been a little bit more careful on him since the 4th inning after he delivered that long ball. Orioles, Machado, Scope hitting home runs. 3-1 delivery to him and chases one away. 3-2.
He's trying to get a little smile, and he's going, if you're a left-handed hitter, this might be good to hit, because that's where it ended up, over in that batter's box. Good news, he didn't put it in play.
Runner goes foul back with the 3-2, 2 down, and Delmon Young will come back to first base.
Yeah, one of those subtle differences, the difference between 2-2 and 3-2 and 2 outs. Now you know he's running. And if Manny hits one up the gap, it's probably going to be 8-5, which is the Orioles would love and the Yankees would disdain.
Here's a 3-2 delivery again. Runner goes and he got it. Breaking ball that moved in for the call.
Oh, Manny, don't do it. Don't do it. There's no reason. No reason.
A couple of Ks. No runs on one hit. Orioles need 3 to get a W. 7-5 they're up. Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. By PNC for the achiever in you. And by Chevrolet. Yankees versus Orioles series sponsorship presented by Chevrolet. That great shot from on high with the retired numbers 42 Jackie Robinson Day inside the Orioles shop on the upper level. And Zach Britton got a save in the ball game last night, looking for a chance to get his 3rd in this one.
Yeah, first over 1 inning. So he came in last night, got a 4-out save, 37 out of 41. The amazing number, 75% of ground balls. That does not factor in the strikeouts. So what? 147 grounders last year, 22 balls in the air.
Shift is on. Here's Drew.
That is throwing some balls that are sinking.
Drew's had good luck against Zach Britton, 2 for 5 with a home run. In this ball game, you see the 0 for 3. Young and then Gregorius, bottom part of the order, due up for the Yankees.
Yeah, it looks like Petit may be coming out to hit.
Fouls that one off.
So you know what the Orioles want. They need to get 3 outs before the Yankees get 2 runs, and the Yankees are looking for somebody to get on base, bring the tying run to the plate.
Zach getting the save in last night's game improves his mark to 3 out of 4 in his career against the Yankees in saves. A 2-4 1-loss record. 1-1 delivery on the way, and he'll get up on the count. 1-2 from Britton.
Yeah, came in last night. All balls put on the ground. All 4 of them.
One and 2 to Stephen Drew. Got him. Called third strike. Drew out of there.
Yeah, well, you know, the Yankee bench, they were yelling at Manny because he got upset on the high curveball. But this is the same place. And, you know, the strike zone, Sean Barber, first time we've seen him, usually is a ball. Not tonight. And probably outside. I mean, Caleb Joseph kind of, I wouldn't say dragging it, but moving it demonstratively from left to right.
Caleb going, I got nothing to lose here.
Well, you're right.
Give it a whirl. Pitch on the way, show and bunt. Yankees need that one base runner. You get the potential tying run to the plate. Chris Young 0 for 3 in the game, bottom part of the order. 7, 8, 9. They have had one hit among them. Gregorius got a single in the 5th inning. Britton 1-0 count. Shift the other way now on Young. 1-0 pitch, and he goes the other way, but that'll be a foul ball back into the seats. Take a look at our T-Mobile game changer.
High slider. David Carpenter comes in. Scope gets the ball. Dom Chigi, the bullpen coach, diving out of the way. There you go. Ties it up, and then the Orioles would score another 4 runs that they take a 7-3 lead, which is now 7-5, as you can see.
1-1 delivery on the way. Inside corner strike. Jackknifed away, but it was there.
Yeah, the late movement, you can throw it at your front hip if you're right-handed, and then you think it's going to stay in there, and not only does it go down, it moves. And that ball's right on the corner. I mean, you can know why Chris Young, he'd rather have the count 2-1 than 1-2.
1-2 delivery by Britton, and that will be foul back.
And then when you know the umpire has a big strike zone, it makes it, if you make your pitches, a little bit easier to pitch because you know the hitter's going to expand. The last thing that Chris Young or any Yankee hitter wants to have happen here in the ninth, to take a strike with the bat on your shoulder.
Brad Brock with a chance to be the winning pitcher in the ball game after Bud Norris held the Orioles in his performance. Brock looking for his first win of the year. 1-2 delivery to him, and that'll be outside. Carpenter could take the loss out of the bullpen for the Yankees, and he would have his first decision if he did. Nick Showalter just waiting for it to be done. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 down. He delivered to Chris Young, and a swing and a foul ball that got Joseph.
Take a look, the ball up a little bit, and then it still sinks enough, and then like it got the inside of the right thigh.
And a lot of unprotected areas, but that's one of them. 2 balls and 2 strikes now on Young. Britton's delivery to him, and that's going to get down the line. It'll be a base hit. Chased into the corner. On his way to second base. Throw will come in on a hop, and not in time. It is a double for Young, and the Yankees will get the potential tying run to the plate here in the 9th inning.
Well, he likes to pitch down. Chris Young has had some really nice at-bats in this series. Home run started the rally against Tommy Hunter in game 1. The home run off Chen on a curveball. Boy, looks like a totally different hitter than the guy we've seen over the last couple of years. Some awfully good at bats.
So pinch hitting is Petit. Gregorio Petit will stand in with a runner on at second base. He's hitting for Gregorius. And the Yankees trying to keep this game alive, and he hits it off his foot, leg, somewhere. And down he went.
Yeah, straight down. And of course, Wayne Kirby, Oriole first base coach, all the outfielders know the runner at second, Chris Young, right here, he's going to move them where they want, and then it's keeping the potential tying run from getting to second base.
So another not easy ball game for either of these teams, right down to the final out again. We've had 2 1-run ball games in the series. Here's the 0-1 delivery by Britton, and that will be a called strike. So he gets ahead of him 0-2. Britton working with only one away and the runner on at second base. Britton's 0-2 delivery on the way. Going to be up high. See if he'd go after one, and he would not. Well, the count goes as 1-2 on Petit. A look back. Fouled off the other way. Petit tough at bat here. He's had no appearances as a pinch hitter. This to be the off the bench appearance for him.
Now you could see the ball up a little bit more, and the average inning, these pitches per inning for Zach Britton last year, and again remember he got 4 outs last night, was 13. He only threw 12 pitches yesterday, so very efficient to get those 4 outs.
I take it back. Petit has been up. He's 1 for 2 as a pinch hitter. 1 for 2. And he gets him on the swinging third strike.
Yeah, Jack could be the first to tell you it may not have been the greatest breaking ball because it stays up, but it's late breaking. He's looking 93, 95. It hangs a little, but he swings right through it. So he gets away with the ball in the middle of the plate, but he does get the strikeout.
Now the always tough Jacoby Ellsbury, top of the order. 2 strikeouts, a double, and a ground ball out. 2 down, runner at second. Orioles lead it by a score of 7-5. Ellsbury with a 3 for 14 off Britton. One of the 3 hits a home run. He'll go after the first pitch, back off the screen.
Yeah, Zach Britton, the closer as of last year, but he was a starter. So a lot of those numbers. And if you go back, he had a couple of back-to-back games, Yankees, Red Sox. Ellsbury playing the Red Sox, where he had 5-6 runs in the first inning.
Young off second base. 0-1 delivery on the way. That's going to be pushed into the seats and fouled.
So a lot of balls compared to what we usually see up, but still a lot of movement.
Yankees have gone 1 for 4 tonight with runners in scoring position. They have left 4 on base. They've got a runner out there at second, and the Ellsbury at bat representing the potential tying run. Britton with the 0-2 delivery. Ellsbury takes it. Ooh.
Yeah, a little off the outside corner. A lot of oohs and ahs. But definitely a ball. Of course, there have been a couple of other pitches that were definitely a ball that have been called strikes. So not a comfortable take by Jacoby Ellsbury.
One ball, 2 strike count. Delivery by Britton way inside. He would be a little overthrown at 95. 2-2.
Well, they got the strikeout with the breaking ball, but it hung. And if you want to speed up Ellsbury's bat, you don't want to do it by hanging a slider. Still have one more pitch where they're not 3-2. You can still throw a ball a little bit out of the zone, hope to bury it.
Here's the 2-2 delivery, and that's 3-2. Did he go? No. So a 3-2 count on Jacoby Ellsbury. 9th inning. 2 down. And the Orioles on top by 2. Not even close. Held the bat back. If he keeps it going, Headley's on deck. Here's the 3-2 pitch, and he walked it.
Yeah, obviously not in rhythm tonight. More pitches up. I don't mean just because of the walk. And you just got to figure it out. Again, you got to do it on the fly.
So now 2 on for the Yankees here in the 9th inning. Chase Headley, number 2 hitter. He's had a single, reached on a walk. Both times he scored, has struck out twice. Only faced Britton once, 0 for 1 against him. There's the alignment. Good speed on the base paths with Young on at second and Ellsbury on at first. Headley at the plate. Britton up high to him for a ball. Yankees will get their bullpen active again just in case. Orioles bullpen quiet. One-0 count. Ground ball towards the middle. Got a force at second, and that's the ball game. Jonathan Scope takes it over for the fielder's choice, and the Orioles come away with a victory as they beat the Yankees by a score of 7-5 and take the series 2-1. Yankees in the ninth, no runs, 1 hit, no errors. They left 2 on base. Brock will get the win, Carpenter the loss, and the Orioles the W.